And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over these internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere. And I'm not sure where to start. First of all, Venezuela is the big topic. We did an overnight strike, raid, whatever you want to call it, on Caracas. Got the president and/or regime leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife alive, and I think nobody else was hurt. Maybe there's some injuries, but nobody died, at least on the U.S. side. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Plus, we still have the issue of Zohran Mamdani. Now, how do you think Zohran, a communist, felt about Maduro being captured? He didn't take it very well, but he was inaugurated. Very interesting. The very first Muslim mayor of New York City, and also the first guy, of course, to be sworn in on the Quran in New York as a mayor. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, the Somali fraud situation rages on. It is happening all over the USA and all over the world. Now, some are going to say, ABL, you're a racist. That. Man, look, last I checked, Somali, being from Somalia, wasn't the race. Last I checked, but maybe they are their own race with their foreheads. I'm just playing. But we'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Plus, there's a bunch of reaction to the Venezuela situation, both positive and negative. And I'll give you a couple of guesses as to who's on the positive side and who's on the negative side. We'll talk about all those things and a whole lot more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got a whole lot going on. And y'all listen, we got a whole lot happening. Maduro has been captured and his wife alive in a fantastic move. Some are saying that we're on the brink of World War III. That's what they're saying. World War III is happening. It's going to come because of what happened here in Venezuela. I'm not sure I really agree with that, because when you're talking about, let's say, for example, an Iraq situation, number one, that did not cause World War III. And number two, Iraq was a worse situation because, in my opinion, the region had some issues. The region had some issues and has some issues with all the other groups, Islam being there. It was a whole lot happening in Iraq. Now, my question would be to anyone who was critical of Iraq. I'm not saying I'm not critical of Iraq, because I am, but is Iraq better today than it was in yesteryear? And some are going to have an argument about that. And I think that could be the logic behind what's going on right now as far as the public opinion in the USA about Venezuela. Now, the Venezuelans, out of all the ones that I've seen, I've not really seen anybody give a real response in a negative who is actually Venezuelan. I've seen quite a few Westerners, quite a few Americans who are not Venezuelan at all. I've seen them giving their 2 cents and they're upset, but I've not seen Venezuelans say the same. Now, I'm not saying that all Venezuelans are down with this. I'm sure I could find some that aren't, but I have not seen them, which makes me think that this is what they wanted. They did not want Maduro or Chavez or anybody else. Some are going to say, well, you know, Maduro was an extension of Chavez. Yes, that's the problem. Everybody they put in there is a communist. And let's remember about Venezuela. Hold on. Let's remember, Venezuela had an issue where they were starving to death. Not the entire country, but a lot of Venezuelans were starving to death, because when you have communism, ultimately what happens? There's no food. It happened in Cuba. It happened in Russia. It happened in quite a few places all over the world where they tried and failed communism. Even China, which is supposed to be some kind of beacon of communism for the world to see, is not communist, not truly. They have a repressive government to a certain extent, but they are not a communist nation. Same thing with Russia, USSR, all of that failed. Communism does not work. Maybe it works for a while, but ultimately you run out of money, you run out of food, you run out of natural resources. North Korea going through the same thing. They got some kind of economy, I suppose, but the people are often starving. Not just living a simple life where it's not a whole lot going. I'm talking about there's no food. I have to be able to scrounge up a rodent to go ahead and kill that to eat. I can't just go to the store and buy food. That is happening in Venezuela. Remember, I covered the story some years ago where they were eating zoo animals. They were breaking in the zoo and eating the animals because there was no food anywhere. That's what happens under communism, and that is still an issue that's plaguing Venezuela. Up to 9 million of them have left because of this situation. And other things as well, the government oppressing them, the government killing them, the government kidnapping them. Most of the videos that I see echo the same sentiment that everyone who's Venezuelan appreciates this move unless you work for the government, unless you're part of the regime. If you're part of the regime and you support the regime, then you got a problem with it. But if you're not that, then there's no issue. Now, some are going to say, well, look, ABL, you still have other parts of the regime there. Maduro and his wife are not the only ones. You got other people. But once you get the head of the snake, you didn't want to have to battle, at least, maybe even the entire battle, because I didn't take your leader and didn't even kill him. You know, he going to be, look, it's going to be mugshots. It's going to be all of that. What are you going to do? Now, some are going to say this is going to cause a war because China, Russia, Iran, they don't like what's happening. They don't like what's going on because they want Venezuela to be for them. And to speak about the oil, because I know that's an issue. I'm kind of feeling it in the comments, although I don't even really see it, but I kind of feel it. Now, some are saying it's about the oil. Yes, but the oil is going to be in play regardless. So watch this. If the U.S. does nothing and just lets whatever happen in Venezuela happen, China and Russia and Iran will further their influence on them because their oil currently goes to those regimes. And if you let China really get a foothold in Venezuela, they're going to build a military base. They said something about building a canal. No, what they want to do is build a military base right there. So you're going to have a Chinese military base right in the Western Hemisphere, not that far from us. And do you think they're going to reduce the flow of drugs from Venezuela? I think not. They're going to take control of the oil, meaning Chinese, Russians, Iranians, more than what they do already, and use that as a tool to enrich themselves and to further knock us down a few pegs as far as the global order of power. That's what's going to happen. And that's what is happening right now. So if we just let that continue, we'll suffer the consequences. If we go in there and take it ourselves, then we can prevent that from happening because now we have rebuffed the Eastern influence in the West. You see, China, Russia, Iran, they want to have Venezuela. The same thing what they did with Cuba. Remember the Bay of Pigs? Missiles right out Miami, Florida? It's the same situation. So you could just let that happen. You could, let them build their base, put some missiles right there, and then shoot Miami whenever they want, Houston, Texas, whenever they want, or you could go in there and do something about it. And I think speaking about Cuba, they need to be freed as well. Shout out to the Cubans, saying, hey, you know what? I like what you did for Venezuela. Can you come to Cuba next? Because they got communism as well, and they face a lot of the same problems, no food or a lack of food that is enough to feed all the population, and they can't have any imports. They still got these old cars from the 1950s. These cars running on their last leg. Their last leg had been broke 35 years ago. These cars are running on exhaust fumes at best. They're running on they strung together with twine and pieces of wood, whatever they could, whatever grass, whatever they could find to hold the car together, holding it together from the 1950s. So a lot of Cubans were out there with the Venezuelans, and I put a video out where you saw the Cuban flag along with the Venezuelan flag because the same thing is happening with them, and they also want to be free from their communist regime. Communism ultimately does not work. It's not popular, and whenever it is introduced, the countries have problems. It's as simple as that. And the thing about the Caribbean islands, not all Caribbean islands are like Cuba, because some are going to say, well, the Caribbean is poor. Not necessarily. I mean, you have Haiti, but then you also have like a Jamaica. It's a little bit different. Jamaica is not the same as Haiti. Dominican Republic, obviously, that's not the same as Haiti. There's places. Cuba obviously got a really big problem. Venezuela got a big problem. And Venezuela is kind of considered Caribbean because it's right there on the water. Trinidad's right there. Shout out to Nicki Minaj for Trinidad as well. All these islands are not the same. All these Caribbean places are not the same. All these South America countries. Venezuela is different than Chile, Argentina, Brazil even. Is different. And it could be a lot better if the oil was handled properly. You see, the way the oil should work is to actually enrich the people or to ensure a better quality of life more than what they have right now. They are oil rich, but they are poor ultimately as people because of the mismanagement from the government point of view. The communism and the incompetence is what is causing them to have problems. They know that it's been that way for a very long time. So now they're trying to get things back on the right track. So shout out to Venezuela. I hope that everything works out. Now, as far as my personal opinion about regime change, things of this nature, I'm not a big fan of regime change. But the reason why I'm not a big fan is because you could spark a war like that. And in order to get the regime change, you have to fight a war. Now, I don't see that being the case here. I don't see that being the case here because they went in there, they got him. It wasn't really that difficult to get him, and they didn't kill him. Remember with Saddam Hussein? Remember that? So they killed Saddam. I'm not sure if they put his dead body on TV, but I remember specifically when they put Uday and Qusay on TV, their dead bodies wasn't even blurred or nothing. Just boom, here you go. Uday and Qusay, they dead. Remember that? I remember that very well. It's etched into my memory. That's much different than Uday, Qusay, Saddam, everybody get in a plane ride in New York, which is what Maduro and his wife have. So I think it's better. You're able to do it basically bloodless. I think it's a win. If we could just stop right here and not have bloodshed, I'm good. Now, if we get into the bloodshed, that's where it gets weird because you're going to have other nations involved. That could be a proxy war right there. China, Russia, Iran. However, they have seen how well we operate as a military, and they might not want that smoke. If they try to fight us right there, that's going to be the battle to end all battles potentially. So I don't think they want that, but they might get funny. But if it's not Venezuela, it'll be Taiwan. It'll be somewhere else. The whole Israel thing is still going on. Oh, and that's something else. Remember, y'all don't remember, but maybe I remember. A lot of people say Israel, oh, well, you know, the reason why we did this because of Israel. At a certain point, Israel cannot be the explanation for everything. You know, it's kind of like, you know, blaming the white man for everything. I've been saying that for a long time. Y'all been here for a long time. You know how I do. Blaming the Jews is like blaming the white man. Jews are the white man's white man. And if you're real woke, you wouldn't blame the Jews as well for everything. Now, I'm not saying Jews are perfect because no people are on this planet. However, they can't be the blame for everything that happens. You get up on the wrong side of your bed, your neck hurt, your eye hurt, your back hurt, your knee hurt. Venezuela get hit, Taiwan get hit, Afghanistan, wherever. Oh, it's because of the Jews this and Israel that. They can't be the blame for everything. I mean, good grief. And at a certain point, when you keep using that card, it gets old. It's like the boy cried wolf. You keep saying the wolf is there. You keep saying the wolf done beat you in the hind parts. Please come get me. I'm scared all this, day, and the third. And when we get there, there's no wolf. When we get there, there's no bite. When we get there, we realize that it was you or something else that did it and not the wolf. That's the way I feel about Israel. So sometimes they could do something that they're responsible for, but the wolf has been called so many times, then I don't really believe it. It's like people that say, oh, I got assaulted. Like the dude that said that Will Smith assaulted him. This dude coming out talking about, yeah, he groomed me. I'm like, I don't know if I believe this. Maybe he's not lying, but maybe he is, because we've seen so many people just like him. A lot of guys and girls just like him come out trying to get a payday. It's the boy cried wolf. People keep repeating a lie, trying the same scam and manipulation over and over again. At a certain point, I'm not going to believe you, or I'm going to think twice. Like, can we get a little evidence? Okay. So you say that Will Smith touched you in your hind parts or something like this. Okay, cool. But do you have a picture of it? Do you have any evidence? Did you go to the police? Because now you saying that and wanting some money, you putting videos on Instagram and TikTok trying to get money. I don't really believe it. Although he might tell the truth. He might not be lying. But it's because of the previous lies. I don't really believe it. But anyway, shout out to Venezuela. Hopefully this is going to help you guys move forward and get away from the communist regime. Communism does not work. It never has worked. It never will work. And it might work for a short period of time. I mean, it might work for about 2 years or something like this. I don't know. But after a very short period of time, or maybe a longer period of time, it's going to fail. It always fails. And you revert right back to capitalism, or at least some form of it. That's just the reality. Now, shout out to Marco Rubio. Rubio, I love Rubio a lot. I really do. He has come a long way since the whole water bottle kerfuffle. I remember that. I ain't going to play it, but I remember the water bottle kerfuffle. So he has come a long way since then. As of right now, he's my pick to be the president in 2028. I like JD Vance, but I think Marco is better. Keeping it all the way 1,000. I'm gonna just be all the way honest with you guys. Y'all know I tell you a joke, but I never tell you a lie. Now, I found this meme right quick before we get to the videos and everything. I found this meme right quick that y'all might enjoy. Hey, that's Marco discovering that he has to be the president of Venezuela. Hey, Marco, thank you for having all these jobs and doing them very well and never sleeping and just going real hard for the country. But guess what? We just got Maduro, okay? He's in New York, so we need you to go out there and be the president of Venezuela. I'm just joking for the little people out there, for the literal people out there. I'm just joking. But, hey, why not? Marco, you already got about 15 jobs. Why not one more? You can handle it. You got it. But in all seriousness, I like Marco a lot. I think he would be a great president. Him and his wife, that'd be a great president and first lady. And I think he has a good chance of winning because he's Hispanic and he could speak Spanish. And that's a really big plus. If you could speak Spanish and you're Hispanic right now, yeah, that's a big plus. You're going to get all the Hispanic vote is going to go to you. It don't matter. Left, right, center, they're going to vote for you. And you're a Republican, you're a Trump ally, you're going to get all the MAGAs. You're going to get the black, white, whoever, non-Hispanics as well. He has a good chance of winning. Now, JD Vance is cool, but he's still a little rough, in my humble opinion. Although I think it'd be JD running because he's the vice president and it'd make sense to run him. I like Marco better than JD Vance right now, being totally honest. But shout out to President Trump, U.S. troops, special forces going in there in a dark of night, getting Maduro and his wife up out of there without a hair on a chin touched, no harm. They're going to be in New York. So we'll see what happens here. Now, the Somalis, this is a never-ending story. The never-ending story of the Somali fraud. It is epidemic and it is long-lasting. Some are going to try to blame Nick Shirley for doing this story, but there have been thousands of stories about the same thing. He just happened to go viral because he's good at what he does. He went out there, spoke to people, put it on the interwebs, and it blew up. Nick Shirley, aside from the subject matter, putting that aside for a moment, it doesn't matter what it's about. If it's about the Somalis or anybody, the way that he did this is what needs to happen going forward. I don't think the old school media can do it. Old school media, they're good at being able to say if a thing happened or not. Okay, the Maduro situation, the mainstream media are good to tell us, okay, that happened. Well, not really, because Trump is better than the mainstream media, because what the mainstream media does now is just report on whatever Trump says on True Social. But anyway, they're good in general with finding out if a thing happened, aside from being about Trump or whatever in general. But when it comes to breaking stories that we care about, when it comes to getting down to some real facts and figures, they're often blocked. They're often censored by the powers that be, by their superiors, by their bosses, by political figures. So certain stories like this don't get much limelight. They don't get much attention because it's designed to be that way. The Minnesotans who voted for this to happen with the Somalis getting all this money, they want it to continue. Now, I don't know what it is with the Somalis in Minnesota. My thought process is, and kind of still is a little bit, that they want the Somalis for the menial labor. They want that low class of people because in many ways, that was kind of like the way America was. You have those who had money and those who didn't, and those who didn't were kind of the underclass. You got the farmers, then below that, you got the slaves. It was like a class system to a certain extent that built the country. Now, as we progressed as people and got more advanced, not just in the USA, but the entire world, because all over the world, this was the case, and it still is in a large part of the world, a class system like that. But that's the way it was. And as we got better as a people in this country, we kind of advanced beyond that. We ended slavery. We did a lot of things in this country that were truly progressive. Okay. But some people don't want things to be that way. And that could be the case in Minnesota with some of the people who vote. And or it could be because the Somalis are able to give the Democrats money, because we've seen some of these so-called daycares give quite a few money to the Democratic Party directly, not even trying to hide it. Okay, Sunshine Daycare LLC gives $10,000 to 10 Pound Tim Waltz. Okay, that's kind of the way it goes. Not just 10 Pound Tim, but local reps as well. It's a whole big operation they got going on up there of the scamming, but not just Minnesota, but all over the USA, all over the world. They do the exact same thing in Somalia and Kenya, neighboring country. They buying up nice, beautiful resort properties in Kenya to go on vacation with money they stole from the USA. They're building up Somalia with stolen U.S. money. I read somewhere that said like 25, 35% of Somalia's GDP is remittances. You know what that is? Remittances, that means money you get from another country from one of your nationals. So let's say I move to Uzbekistan and I work there and I send money back to the USA. That's a remittance back to the USA, back to my family or whatever. That's what that is. 35% up to Somalia's entire GDP is that. Somalis living abroad sending money back to Somalia. It doesn't matter if they earn it or if they steal it. And a lot of that is stolen. I want to see if a true study is done, like a real study, not just what's on paper that I can show, but a true study, stolen money, money that could have been stolen. How much money comes from the USA that goes to Somalia specifically? That's what I want to see. I think at least a quarter of the money that they get comes from the USA alone. At least a quarter, bare minimum. Maybe the whole 35% comes from the USA, because you go to other places, it's not quite that way. You go to a lot of these places in the world, China, something like that. You can't just go over there and steal money like that and get away with it. Hey, if you are a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever in China, you can get disappeared. You could get put right in a factory making making toy race cars for 5 years, and anybody gonna know where you at. That's kind of the way it is in China. But over here, hey man, you could steal, you could do whatever you want. It's totally okay. It's totally fine. But yeah, shout out to all the nations in the world who don't specialize in stealing, who don't specialize in robbery. You know, shout out to all these guys. Crowder said it was higher. It could have been higher for sure. It most certainly could have been higher. AMG says, I think Yemen's GDP is like that too. I wouldn't be surprised. Not in the least bit. I mean, you're talking about dirt poor country. What they really got going on in Yemen? Is there even any oil in Yemen? You would think that there is, but is there? I mean, they're located right there on the Saudi Peninsula, but is there any oil in Venezuela? I mean, Yemen? Well, I know it's in Venezuela. They got quite a bit of oil. I think once Venezuela's oil infrastructure is repaired and it is set up properly to benefit the people, they will most certainly benefit from what has happened. And I think the first step was to get Maduro out of the way. That was the first step. Although there are still some of the regime there, Maduro was the first step, for sure. J Flo says, 10 Waltz donations from convicted pirates. Hey, the piracy is real. They went from the boat to the ballot box to the daycare center to the healthcare center. They went from the boat to the big bucks in the USA. They went from the boat, paperwork. Rather than getting on that boat with bare feet, sandals, I'm the captain now, raggedy clothes, looking like Moses in 2026. Rather than doing that, they could just go onto their phone, go online, set up something fake, and get cash money. Okay, they had some of these, I don't know if it was daycare centers or healthcare centers at people's houses. Like a regular suburban house with no signs of business being there was where they had a so-called daycare center. It just racking in money. The only reason they live right there in that beautiful house, beautiful neighborhood, is because they stole money to get there. I'm no hater or pocket watcher, as the cool kids say, but what I don't appreciate is the stealing. What I don't appreciate is a fraud, not in the least bit. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. If you like what you hear so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. The Leering Center, exactly. Shout out to the Leering Center. And it was funny how they tried to fix the Leering Center and it was still messed up. Like they fixed it to Learning Center, but there was no space in between the end of learning and the beginning of center. It's like, that's not the way you spell that. That's not the way you type that out to be correct grammatically. But anyway, 8-Bit Only says some of those houses were not normal suburban houses. It was luxury. Oh, of course. Because you know they're going to get top of the top end. Because if I'm going to steal millions of dollars, why not get the top of the top of the top? Why not? Why not just waste money on some Chrome Hearts glasses that cost $2,500 and talking about somebody cut a hole in my drywall that's the size of smaller than basketball, but somehow somebody was able to get through there or they stole something from there. Oh, okay. So I just happened to cut a random hole in your drywall under an outlet, and then I take paperwork. Was the papers in the drywall? Did somebody come through there? Oh, one more thing about the Somalis. A lot of these schemes are harebrained at best. It don't make any sense. But I think a lot of people in the USA are not used to scammers. I'm used to scammers. I've been around them in the street. I've been around them in general. I've encountered a lot of scammers. I got some scamming stories I might tell. I don't know if I'm going to tell that right now, but I've seen a lot of scammers and I know how they operate. And I've seen some good scammers, but these guys, it's amateur hour at best. It is amateur hour at best. Tomato, tomato, tomato. Get off the stage. Boo, boo, hiss. Get the same man with the cane. Get you off the stage. Terrible. I mean, completely ridiculous. Talking about somebody broke in the daycare through a small hole in the wall. Really? A hole about this big. What's you going to fit in there? How are you going to fit through that hole? Are you going to anamorph into a rat and then go back to regular size so you get into the actual place? And then once you get into the office, you're able to figure out where the papers are at. I mean, just be serious for a minute. Don't just tell me anything. Tell me a story that I can believe. Tell me a story that is believable. Show me some video of some big juggernaut looking dude busting through the Kool-Aid man, juggernaut busting through the door and stealing it. If you can't show me that, then please stop. Please stop. Hey man, the education out there is terrible. Let me tell you a story right quick before we get to anything else. So I know, and shout out to the Somalis that are good people. I know Somalis like who don't scam and they're good people. But my Somali friend way back in the day told me that there's a test everyone takes. Well, Somali or Ethiopia, I don't know. Ethiopians are much different, even though it's like right there. But anyway, the poverty is kind of similar depending upon where you at in both countries. But there is a test. It was Somalia. There was a test you got to take in order to go to school. And half the country does not pass the test. So off the rip, they know that this person cannot be educated. There's nothing that can be done with this person. And then if you're able to pass the test, it's still going to be very hard for you to get an education and to get out of Somalia. If you ever seen some of these commercials on TV with the African kids and they got the flies on their nose and the big bellies, that's them over there. That's how they live. So you coming from that level of poverty to try and be an American citizen is going to be difficult. And a lot of them have not mastered it. So what they do often, not all the time, is they steal because they don't know anything else. There's not much up top. Okay, my man had a Yankee fit on, and that was the extent of his brain power. You understand what I'm saying? To be used as a hat rack. No brain is really rocking and rolling in there the way it should be. The pistons ain't really firing on any cylinder. That thing is straight flatline. The oil is old. It can't be changed. It's sludge in there right now with the engine. So his best bet was to go out there with some Chrome Hearts glasses on and say that a human being was able to break through the small hole in the drywall the size of a volleyball. Anyway, shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. I know Ethiopia is better. I know Ethiopia is better. Hey, shout out to the Ethiopians. I know y'all are much better. I know that. But what I'm saying is, we talking about the poverty level. When you go to the poor areas of these countries in East Africa, it's similar. But once you out of the poor areas, it's different, much different in Ethiopia. Somalia as a whole is kind of a failed state. Ethiopia is not. Ethiopia, by the way, was never colonized. It was briefly occupied, but never colonized. I think that was the only place never colonized in Africa. If I'm wrong, you let me know in the comments. But anyway, shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. Before I get to the video, shout out to you guys, of course, again, and thank you to everybody who has been watching all the videos. Shout out to my sponsors, PatriotPost.us, your best source of news and information anywhere on these interwebs. Their link will be in the description, or go to PatriotPost.us. Tell them that ABL sent you. Also, please go to my merch website, ablmerch.com. That is ablmerch.com. We got the hats, the t-shirts, stickers, the hoodies, mugs, and more right there on the website, ablmerch.com. Also, please go to my regular website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, letter B, LOGAN.com. Go to the front page of the website, and for each long form video that I produce, I write an article, and in each article, I have a source from, I have sources from the left, from the right, from the center, from the Democratic, Republican, political, agnostic, local, national, international, whatever you want. I got it right there on the front page of the website, anthonyblogan.com. Also, go to the contact page of the website, anthonyblogan.com/contact-us. There you'll be able to find my email address, my email address, my UPS box, of course, my social media accounts, my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Never going to call it X, TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok. I'm trying my best on TikTok, but they hating your boy. They really are. They hate me so bad on TikTok. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what I say. I've been on some of these TikTok lives trying to talk to people, and I say some of the most basic things. I'm getting the, it's like, what did I say? I'm not doing no cussing. I don't speak in vulgarities, but TikTok ain't that ready. So I'm trying over there for you guys. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, all my social media is on my website. I'm easy to find. And as I always say, if you think you're speaking to me on the interwebs or not, you're probably not. If you didn't email me first at contact@anthonyblogan.com, which is on the contact page of the website, and I respond. If it's not that, then it's not me. Please don't get scammed by somebody living in Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria, Moldova, Ukraine, Russia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Liechtenstein, or somewhere like that, or India, or China, or anywhere else in this world, because the scamming is at an all-time high. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. The scamming is real. It is really real. Okay. And they get you a variety of ways. So please do not get scammed. Do not fall for the okie doke. All righty. Hey, Tatum says, I'm too old for TikTok. Well, look, man, I'm seeing people on there that's old. You know, I'm seeing some unks on there. I'm seeing some popular unks. I could fit into the unk crowd. Okay. Yeah, I could fit into the unk crowd. I'm seeing plenty of graybeards on there get traction, but they don't want you to be talking this political stuff. Oh, no. You can't talk the way I talk on there. I'm a little bit too, I go too hard for TikTok. Yeah, I go a little bit too hard for TikTok. Sometimes even YouTube kind of give me a little, it's like, all right, you're saying too much. But Twitter, out of everybody, is the most free. You could put whatever you want on Twitter as long as it's legal. You could put whatever you want. I've never not one time had any kind of censorship, especially since Elon. The old Twitter under Jack, you can do nothing. When we posted the Hunter Biden laptop story, that was like your account got banned. But before I go any further, shout out to Elon Musk and shout out to President Trump. They, in my humble opinion, saved free speech for the country, because remember, the old Twitter, you couldn't say anything, you couldn't do anything, as was the case for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube to a certain extent. You couldn't really do much of anything on social media beyond the normie takes when relating to politics. But when Trump wins, the government is no longer pressuring social media companies to censor things. And Elon led the charge. He takes over Twitter. There's no more censorship. Facebook, Instagram, everybody else got to kind of follow in line, and its new administration. So I think they really helped save freedom of speech. Now, TikTok, on the other hand, is still Chinese. There's a deal in place where 80% of it will be owned by the USA in the USA. but we'll see how that affects the content, if it'll change or stay the same or what's going on. But anyway, James says, I am a 60-year-old uncle watching you from Ireland. Shout out to Ireland. Shout out to my cousin out there in Ireland. Y'all know I'm 5% Irish, so shout out to my Irish cousin out there watching me. Shay says, no Nigerian accent. Oh, I forgot my accent today. I must have lost it because the news came in from Venezuela. I talked to my friend Adeola in Caracas. He says that he's okay. He's going back to Niger tomorrow because he wants to go back for the holiday. He doesn't want to be in the Rockas. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate that for y'all rocking and rolling. Let's get to a news clip right quick about Venezuela and what's happening, and then we'll keep on. I got some reactions from people that appreciate this and those that don't. Hold on, let's get a little bit of sound.
CBS News Miami mornings.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. We are following some major breaking news this morning. Overnight, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, they were captured by United States forces. Now, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, will face charges in New York for an indictment there. Right now, though, the vice president of Venezuela is demanding proof of life. The Venezuelan government says it does not know where Maduro is. Now, this follows airstrikes across the country overnight. I want you to take a look at this.
But we know Maduro is now in New York, and I got video of him landing in New York where he'll face trial. If you wake up in the morning and you see something like that going on, what do you do? Do you kind of know what time it is if you're living in Venezuela, what this could be? Or are you just like perplexed, like what's happening?
The Venezuelan defense minister says military forces have been deployed across the country.
Yeah, you're taking a look right now live in Caracas, looking at some of the aftermath of those bombings. And we continue to do a deep dive into exactly what happened and the details behind it.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio posted to X saying, quote, Maduro is not the president of Venezuela and his regime is not the legitimate government. Rubio goes on to say Maduro is under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. Republican Senator Mike Lee posting to X saying that he spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio says Maduro has been arrested and will stand on trial on criminal charges here in the U.S. He anticipates no further action in Venezuela now that Maduro has been captured.
Yes, we do want to take you now live to Doral, where Venezuelans, they are out in force already celebrating this morning. We've been hearing the chants and the cheers, most of them celebrating what they believe is the end of the Maduro regime. We're going to hear from some of them in just a moment. But first, we do want to welcome you.
So look, let's go back. I'm seeing nothing but happiness. Happy faces. I'm seeing MAGA hats on the Venezuelans. So they like what's happening. They like it. Again, most of the response I've seen from Venezuelan people in Venezuela and outside of Venezuela has been positive. It's been negative responses from those who are not Venezuelan, mostly. I'm not saying that all Venezuelans like this, but I've yet to see one that actually came out and said they don't like it.
Celebrating this morning, we've been hearing the chants and the cheers, most of them celebrating what they believe is the end of the Maduro regime. We're going to hear from some of them in just a moment. But first, we do want to welcome you and good morning, everybody, to Saturday morning here in South Florida, here on CBS News Miami. I'm Betty Nguyen.
And I'm Ted Scouten. We are expecting to hear more about the strikes later today. We want to show you now the announcement made by President Trump. It reads, the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader. President Nicolas Maduro has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 that's going to be at Mar-a-Lago. Let's get to CBS News Miami's Christian Benavides with the very latest.
In a stunning announcement, President Trump posted on social media this morning that Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro has been captured and flown out of the country with his wife.
De la lealtad más absoluta.
It could mark a remarkable end to a repressive socialist regime that started in Venezuela back with Hugo Chavez in 1999. Maduro has been a wanted man in the U.S.
Let's pause. What happened with Hugo Chavez, when he came in, he took over the oil that the U.S. had set up. We went in there, set everything up, all the infrastructure, the whole situation. What he did was nationalize it. And that was the beginning and the end for the country, because he nationalized it and brought in communism. And again, it never works. They keep trying communism over and over again, and it never works. And after Chavez, it's been a continuation of the same failed policy, which is why poverty rose to, like, at one point from 20% to 94%. And that's what caused Venezuelans to starve to death and have to flee to the tune of 9 million.
Over alleged narco-terrorism and drug charges, with a $50 million reward for information leading to his capture. President Trump earlier this week.
You have to understand what he's done. They've sent billions of dollars of drugs in, but maybe just as bad, they've sent hundreds of thousands of people in from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums. The drug lords, the drug dealers were all sent into our country.
Because let's not forget the whole migrant crisis. Let's not forget about that. We had Trinidad Agua coming in. Where did they come from? Venezuela. So they were sending us their gang members, their troublesome people. They were sending them here to cause trouble over here. We've seen plenty of our citizens get killed by them. There was a person, it was a whole family, and they were Hispanic too. They probably were Guatemalans. They were killed here where I live in Chattanooga, going through the tunnel by some drunk dude from Venezuela, probably a gang member. We've seen this over and over again. This ain't even really.
We're all sent into our country.
Maduro's capture was part of a U.S. operation that included airstrikes, some aimed at military facilities. Explosions rocked Venezuela overnight. Low-flying aircraft were seen flying over the capital city of Caracas. You could feel the planes flying low, and then various explosions, at least 8 or 10, this Venezuelan man said. President Trump gave the green light for the operation over the holidays, according to 2 U.S. officials. It comes on the heels of a pressure campaign against the Maduro regime. There's been at least 30 strikes on alleged drug boats. The U.S. ordered a blockade after seizing oil tankers, while U.S. stealth fighter jets fly daily missions from Puerto Rico. The massive military buildup of 15,000 American troops in the Caribbean now includes 11 Navy ships, led by the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier.
Ante los ataques recientes.
On state TV, the Venezuelan government confirmed the airstrikes. The government has called on people to take to the streets in protest.
So there we go. That's what's happening right now in Venezuela. Now, let me get to a few of the reactions, because there are quite a few. Oh, before we get to the reactions,
vantage point,
we got Maduro landing. So this is Maduro when he landed in New York. They flew him in.
It appears to me that Maduro is coming down on the left hand portion of your screen. It's a little tough to make out, given the visibility and given the time of night. But that was it. That was Maduro deplaning. And then presumably, as you were mentioning, Hal, we will see him be transported to some sort of federal jail facility.
So I'm sure there's going to be pictures of Maduro coming down the stairs. I'm sure. If I search right now, I might be able to find it. But we have the Maduro. We have Maduro when he was on the actual USS Iwo Jima. We do have that. Hold on. I think I might have it right here. I might have it. Yep, here we go. This is just hot off the presses. Hot, fresh off the presses. I got it right here. Hold on. This is going to be Maduro taking the first step off the plane. All right. They got him a change of clothes. No more Nike tech suit that he was captured in, or that he had on the Iwo Jima. I'm going to just turn the sound off, as you can see what's going on here. I can't tell if he's shackled by his feet or if he just got handcuffs on. I'm not really sure. But it appears to be just handcuffs, and he's walking with a whole lot of agents. Hey, ain't no getting in the way. Even if his feet are not shackled, ain't no getting in the way here, bro. You pretty much, you cooked. Your goose is cooked right here. So that is Maduro. obviously right there in the blue hoodie in betwixt all the agents, going to the next destination, federal detention facility, and then he'll go to trial. So that's what's happening right now with Maduro. The president of Venezuela, now some are going to say he's not the president because he shouldn't even be in there, because there was an election recently that he pretty much just stole straight up. People were going to the polling places and it was chains and locks and armed guards. You couldn't even vote. Like that's a truly stolen election where you cannot vote. You know, that's when they just straight up say, no, you're not going to be able to do it. We're going to stay in power. And so what? Now, here's Trump talking about Maduro.
Do this 4 days ago, but we were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect. And we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden it opened up and we said go. And I'll tell you, it was just amazing. And what was he doing? He was in a very highly guarded, like a fortress, actually. He was in a fortress. That we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because a couple of guys were hit, but they came back and they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that we had nobody killed, that we lost no aircraft. Everything came back. We got it all back. One of them was hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back.
Now, about China, I'm seeing a few comments about China. Now, the Chinese delegation was there before this happened, like right before it happened. And they were there trying to butter Venezuela up per usual, because the issue with Venezuela is they are not going to be alone in this world. They can't just operate by themselves. Either we influence them and we are the main force that they are allied with, or it's going to be Iran, Russia, China. They want to try to take our spot, meaning those countries, the East, I suppose you would say, they want to take our dominance away from us in the USA. So if they're able to get Venezuela, that helps in that regard. And what China wanted to do was build a canal in Venezuela, which would have been a military base. And what you don't want is a Chinese base over in the Western Hemisphere. You don't want that. It was the same thing, again, as I was saying from the beginning. It's the same thing with the Russians being in Cuba, have missiles pointed right at us, and during Cold War, all that. Yeah, you don't want Bay of Pigs, something like that, to be going on in Venezuela. So it's a matter of either we act or they're going to act, and who's going to impact who. It's a a proxy game, kind of, sort of.
But it just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a war. We're losing 300,000 people a year. We don't lose that much in a war. Okay, if you look, and we had to do it. But he was in a house that was more like a fortress than a house. It had steel doors. It had what they call a safety space, where it's solid steel all around. He didn't get that space closed. He was trying to get into it, but he got bum rushed so fast that he didn't get into that. We were prepared. We had, massive blowtorches and everything else that you need to get through that steel, but we didn't need it. He didn't make it to that area of the house.
So there we go. So yeah, you living in a fortress, trying to hide. But hey, man, the U.S., people try to underestimate our power. They say that we fell off. Like, remember the Afghanistan withdrawal? That was a mess. That was pretty embarrassing. It's like the Americans, they don't know what they're doing. Look at this mess in Afghanistan that they made with the withdrawal, but with this precision. In and out like a thief in the night. Like a thief in the night.
I've never
We got more.
seen anything like this. I was able to watch it in real time, and I watched every aspect of it, and I listened to the communication between, where we were in Florida and out in the field in Venezuela. And it was amazing to see the professionalism, the quality of leadership, the professionalism. General Raisin Kane is fantastic. Don't forget, we did another one not so long ago. It was called the knocking out of the Iranian nuclear threat, the nuclear power. And that was That was unbelievable what they did there. And this is something that, gee, I don't know, it's amazing. And to have a few injuries, but no death on our side.
So shout out to, again, our troops. Shout out to President Trump. Now, I'm seeing some comments. People say that Trump's an embarrassment, all this, that, and the third. Anybody got disagreement, call in later. The calls will be open later on in the show, about 10:30-ish or so. Call in then if you got any kind of disagreement with me. I doubt anyone who disagrees will call because they normally don't, but it's okay. Well, I know some are going to call, but not very many. Now, this is the opposition leader, Maria Machado. Now, she was supposed to be the president, I suppose, because Maduro did not let the election happen. Maduro just stayed in power with his military. And if there was a free and fair election, I think that she could have won. All right. So this is what she says. This is a previous video. This is not anything recent. This is not her response. This is previously.
We will turn Venezuela. We will turn Venezuela into that energy, technological, and democracy hub of the Americas. And we count on you. And I long for that day, and we will host all of you in a bright, democratic, and free country. And it's going to be soon. All
right, there we go. So she's talking about how if we have the Maduro regime out of there in Venezuela, that they'll be able to really ascend and be a hub for the Americas and really be, a serious player in this part of the world rather than being so downtrodden and oppressed by the communists. All right. Now, maybe they won't be the richest country on planet Earth, but they'll be better than what they're doing right now, because at one point, Venezuela was not like this. Venezuela was much better before the communists came in. As I said, in the early 90s, their unemployment rate was 20%. And now, or recently, 94%, like a really high unemployment rate, or pardon me, not an unemployment rate, a poverty rate. 20% poverty in 1996, and now 2026, 94%. It's bad. And bad to the point where it's not just American poor. I'm talking about no food at all. Zero food. You go to the store, it's nothing. You can't even afford anything if it was something there. All right. And here's more from Machado in the past. This is back in November of 25.
I completely trust the strategy President Trump is developing and his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. They know very well with whom they're dealing with. This is not a legitimate president. This is the head of a criminal structure that was already defeated in a presidential election by landslide. So they know how to deal with these kind of individuals that are criminals, narco-terrorists. And I believe that Maduro will get a very clear picture of what are his options and what's the future for Venezuela.
What would be your message to Americans who are worried that this could become another costly foreign entanglement for them?
I believe it's exactly the contrary. Maduro started this war. President Trump is ending this war. A transition to democracy in Venezuela will make the Americas, including the United States, safer, more secure, and more prosperous. Because Venezuela, our country, has been turned into that safe haven for all those enemies, forces that want to undermine the institutions of the United States and also kill people in Venezuela and in your country. So we are solving and dismantling a criminal structure that has produced great pain and turned our country, our nation, into the best ally of the United States, a security shield for the Americas, and a huge opportunity for energy security as well. And one thing very important, Rachel, millions of Venezuelan migrants will come back home the day Maduro goes.
There you go. There you go. Now, I put some videos out and I saw quite a bit of go home, go home. Listen, if you are here illegally, then yeah, go home. But if you're here legally, I'm not the type to kick you out because you did the right thing by coming here legally. I have no issue with people that come here legally. My only complaint is with those who come here illegally. That's my only thing. So yeah, if you're here illegally, I don't care. Maduro, no Maduro, you can go back. Especially the gang members. Like, what are we talking about? But I understand why someone wants to escape that kind of nonsense. But all I'm saying is, you don't got to come here illegally. I mean, what's really going on? But to those who are here legally, then, hey, man, do what you want. Now, let's show some responses. This is going to be Voldemort or Vladimir Zelensky. That's all their name, ain't it? Boris, Vladimir. You got about 3 names in Ukraine, Russia. Same thing. Kevin Russ. Your name is Boris, Vladimir, or something else that sounds the same as that. But anyway, he says, if it's possible to deal with dictators like that, just like that, then the United States of America knows what to do next. Now, my question is, what does he mean by that? Because some see that he's like the good guy and he might be the bad guy in the situation. It's not always Vladimir Putin that's the problem. It could be the other Vladimir. But anyway, let's play this.
Про Венесуелу? Ну, як тут відреагувати? Ну, що я можу сказати? Якщо можна, да, так, з диктаторами, ось так, то Сполучені Штати Америки знають, що їм робити далі.
Okay, so you heard what he said. I mean, you're speaking in Ukrainian, which is the same thing as Russian, in my humble opinion. But he's saying, yo, if they can just do that with a dictator at any time, then what are we doing next? The insinuation is you can just go get Vladimir Putin like that. Please stop playing games, bro. Please stop playing games. And actually, some may say that you are the guy that needs to go, Zelensky. Some say it's you, not Vladimir Putin. And I might tend to agree. For real, if you were to ask me my opinion about Russia, Ukraine, I say let Russia have it. Because what are we doing trying to fight that war? What is the end goal? What is the purpose in trying to fight that? Do we think that Russia will try to expand beyond Ukraine? So we got to fight them in Ukraine to keep them from expanding? Is that what we think? They already tried USSR. That didn't work. So how is that going to work again? I don't really get it. But shout out to Zelensky. So we're not going to do that. we are not doing that. Now, here's some responses from the people of Venezuela. My man right here, Edgar, that's his name or not. I'm not trying to be funny. Edgar's like, you know what? I love it. And I love you guys in the USA. Let's check it out.
Yes, yeah, come celebrate with us. We love everybody because you, America, has loved us so much. So much. Thank you, America.
Edgar, thank you so much for sharing those sentiments. Guys, this is something.
So he loves it. That's out there in Miami, in Doral, Miami. You see the Venezuelan flag, the smiles on their faces. They loving what's going on. So if they like it, I love it. If they like it, if Edgar and them like it, then I love it. Shout out to them. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. All right, let's keep on rocking and rolling. This woman says she is Trump's biggest hater, which is also Venezuelan, and she cannot deny the good that Trump did here. Let's check it out.
For all my Americans shitting on Trump for bombing Venezuela, let me tell you, I am Trump's #1 hater. I am also Venezuelan. And let me tell you, for all of you that are commenting on social media, oh my God, no war, we didn't sign for this. Oh my God, poor people, they must be so terrified. Let me tell you, every single Venezuelan that is not working for the government, the dictatorship that has been in place for more than 25 years, we are stoked. We are happy. Even the people that are currently still in Venezuela, everyone's happy about this. So can you please just educate yourself and stop spreading this bullshit narrative that, oh my God, poor people, like, they must be so scared. No, we're not scared. We've been waiting for this shit for 25 years. We've lost family members. We've escaped the country. We've had to leave everything behind to start over. Yes, some of us know Trump is a piece of shit, but sometimes you battle the devil with a bigger devil. So let him do what he needs to do, and then we can go back to shitting on him, okay?
Okay, so obviously you have someone who hates Trump, someone who is the furthest thing from a MAGA, not a MAGA at all, a Trump hater, self-admitted, obvious Trump hater, but she has to admit that he did a good thing right here. She's got to admit that. And I appreciate that. I respect that, because some people, they refuse to admit whenever a guy that they don't like does something good. Even with me, if Biden did something good, and I'm probably the biggest Biden hater. Hey, if you got a top 5 Hall of Fame Biden haters, it's me. Okay, Creepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. Yeah, I'm going to use all those words. But guess what? If he does something good, I'm going to give him credit for it. And I think that's the same thing going on right here. So shout out to her for saying, hey, I don't like Trump, but Orange Man good today. Right on. I'm not mad at it. I can respect that a lot. And you know what? As Trump does more good things, and as time progresses and the things that Trump has done get revealed more to people like that, then they'll grow to like him. A lot of people hated Trump when he first came in office. Hey, when they hit Venezuela, people on my phone texting me. People on my phone that are not Trump fans, they texting me like, hey man, what's going on? Everything's good. They're curious about what's happening. They're curious about the conservative party, about Donald Trump, and the things that we bring to the table that's different than what Creepy Joe or whoever would bring to the table. All right. Now we got Venezuelans worldwide celebrating what happened. This is in Peru, Lima, Peru.
Venezuela. ¿Listo? Venezuela. Al fin, señor, gracias. Gracias, mi Dios.
Por fin, 26 años.
Spain, Madrid.
Okay.
Mira cómo fue la vaina, mira cómo fue la vaina.
They're loving it. Looking at videos.
Personaje.
Chile, Santiago. Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Vamos, vamos.
Este venezolano reuniendo a los nuevos venezolanos que por su cuenta quisieron venir.
Look, everybody's loving it. All Latin America, even in Europe, they're loving it. Everywhere, I'm seeing everybody. Dominicans, anybody that speaks Spanish, all the Hispanics are celebrating this. I've not really seen anyone that's not celebrating it. Now, here we got a young man who appears to be in Venezuela, streaming on the other app, the Chinese app, talking about what's going on. And this is what I normally see from Venezuelans who are speaking about this. This is the same kind of response that I get for the most part.
Okay? God bless y'all. God bless y'all, guys. If you're so scared or like concerned about our country, thank you for the army. Pray for us then, instead of trying to destroy our only hope and happiness right now. Yeah. If you really care about us. Okay? Please, just think about the people. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. You know what? I'm gonna hop off and I'm gonna go cry and hug my family here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm happy right now. You know? And if you ask any other Venezuelan right now, they're gonna tell you that we are happy, even if you don't like Donald Trump or not, even if we don't want Donald Trump or whatever, we are happy. Calvin, thank you, brother. We are happy. We are happy. We're free. And if you are concerned for us, and if you're like, oh my gosh, you guys are screwed, Donald Trump is going to take you guys, whatever, pray for us then. I encourage you to do it. And do not just try to take our happiness and our only hope after 26 years.
So there you go. I mean, they're telling you, like, this is what we feel. We like this. We're happy. We're cool with it. It's been going on for a very long time. We've been pleading with the outside world to get some help, and we got it. All right, and we got someone else. A message to the anti-war English speakers when speaking about the Trump-Maduro situation. Check it out. Let's let it rock. Here we go.
Now a message to my English-speaking friends, because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not, for a moment, let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago. We Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela, and then we can return home.
There you go. Everybody's saying, look, the problem is there's a regime there, oppressive, that forced us away. We love Venezuela. We love our home until we were forced to leave. So now that he's out of there, and if we get everybody else out of there who's part of the problem, then we can go back, because it's what we wanted to do from the beginning. We didn't really want to leave, but we had to leave. They said it was the largest mass exodus from a country since Syria. Not many people had to flee because of what was happening with the government, with the oppressive system, with, again, I think that does not work in communism. All right. Now, let's keep on going here. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Okay, here we go. This is going to be in some Spanish, but there's going to be English subtitles. All right, let me just read this on here. It says, Venezuelans take to the streets, celebrate Maduro's downfall. All right, let's watch.
El pueblo finalmente está libre. El pueblo llora por su libertad. Gracias a los Estados Unidos por liberarnos. ¡Y viva la libertad! Oye, el dictador cayó. Finalmente. Estamos libres, estamos libres. ¡Viva Venezuela libre! Gracias, Dios. Gracias. Oye, el dictador cayó finalmente. Granadito, hermano, esto es real. Estamos libres. Mira, mira cómo está la gente. ¡Viva Venezuela libre! Gracias a Dios, esto es para todos los que aguantaron, se logró.
So quite a bit of this going on all over the place, English, Spanish, or whatever, because, you know, and part of the reason why I played that is because some people say, oh, it's all in English. And what about the Spanish speakers? All kind of dumb stuff. Now, we got protesters, of course, because you got to have some haters. You got to have some haters. This is out in Vermont, okay? Much different crowd than the Venezuelans celebrating in the streets all over the world. Much different crowd here in Vermont. Let's watch.
Biggest threat in the world today? Donald Trump in the USA. Biggest threat in the world today? Donald Trump in the USA. Biggest threat in the world today? Donald Trump in the USA. Biggest.
Now, count the Venezuelans in this crowd. Can anybody do that? Just from, I know it's kind of far, they got coats on and stuff like this, but I don't see too many Venezuelans. I'm seeing some regular Vermonters. I'm seeing some white liberals straight from the Democratic Party bust into Vermont, or they might just live there. Okay, let's exit our basement and go out there and protest what happened in Venezuela. Okay, where the Venezuelans at? It kind of reminds me of Black Lives Matter. Remember them? Where they would be out there marching and protesting with 1,000 white liberals and a handful of black people, depending upon where they at. That's kind of what's going on. And if it was in the black area, you might have some black folks out there trying to get some money and trying to get some of that money. But anyway, I digress. Interesting crowd out there protesting. Okay. Now, this, again, it's in Spanish, but he's slamming liberals who defend Maduro, saying, I saw friends eat dogs to survive. And don't worry, I have more topics. I saw your comment. I have more topics tonight. Don't try to run my show. Y'all know how I do. Let me do this. You just sit back and enjoy, but watch.
Estoy con Jonathan, que nada, está que desborda, quiere hablar. Él es venezolano, está desde los 18 años acá. Contame un poquito, Jonathan.
Yo, mira, salí de Venezuela por eventos traumáticos horribles. Cuando yo salí en plena decadencia, cuando la gente solo comía mangos, yo vi a un amigo mío comer perros.
So I heard that. He says, me and my friends had to eat dogs. Me and my amigo comen perros. Yeah, me and my friend had to eat dogs.
Comer perros allá es increíble. Yo no sé por qué aquí hay personas con banderas de Venezuela. Son venezolanos. ¿Saben lo que pasa en Venezuela? Es como cuando tienen las banderas de Cuba. ¿Saben lo que pasa en Cuba? La esposa de mi papá es cubana y ella me dice las cosas tan horrendas que pasaron allá. Dios mío, ¿en serio pueden culpar a... Está bien, se inventan el capitalismo, todo esto, pero es increíble lo que pasa. Dios mío, ¿cómo puede ser que estas personas estén acá defendiendo a un dictador que tiene el helicoide, el centro de tortura más grande de Latinoamérica?
So there we go. So if you heard that in Spanish, you see that, hey, all these liberals talking crazy. Look, y'all don't know what's going on. Y'all don't really get it. You know, it's some issues. We out here starving, or we were at one point having to eat whatever we could. So, let's not even really go down that road. Let's not go down that road at all. Alrighty. Now, we got another person who is not in favor of what's happening in Venezuela. And he does not look very Venezuelan to me. Okay, you're looking like you're Arkansan or Idahoan or Utah. But anyway, let's watch some of this.
MAGA was a damn lie. Donald Trump just launched a full-scale war against Venezuela without congressional approval after promising the American people no new wars. This administration is clearly abusing power, and it's up to Congress to hold the president, to hold the executive office accountable. My name's Kyle Sweetser, and I'm running for United States Senate here in Alabama because I believe that this administration is abusing power, and I believe that the executive office needs to be reined in general. We do not need to be going to war as a country while the entire American population is in the dark about why we are doing so. It's unconstitutional. We deserve the truth.
All right, there we go. So, Kyle, I don't really agree with you, and I think that most Venezuelans don't really agree. And I don't agree with the premise that we started the war. I don't think that, because we were able to get them like in and out. It wasn't no whole big thing trying to find them, trying to search. Remember Saddam and Bin Laden? It was a whole big thing that they go on TV and say, we got them. And in those cases, these guys were straight up deleted. Saddam, Gaddafi, the list goes on. All these people, Bin Laden, they were straight deleted. But we captured Maduro alive, in and out, 2 hours. It was like going to the McDonald's, getting the number one, and come right back to the house. That's pretty much what it was. So, yeah, I think we're going to be all right, Cal. I think everything will be hunky-dory. But let's continue here. Let's continue. Now, let's go to Mamdani. Let's see what his response is to this whole situation. And shout out to my New Yorkers. How do you feel about Mamdani becoming your mayor? Are you guys concerned? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to tone down the rhetoric? Is he going to back off of the communist ideals? Because what you don't want in New York is to be a communist state or communist place like Venezuela, Cuba, etc.
Talk to the Venezuelan New Yorkers who came here to plead a regime, and then secondly,
Are you concerned with Maduro being housed here at MDC?
There are tens of thousands of Venezuelans who call the city home. Their safety is critically important to me, as is the safety of each and every New Yorker. And my job is to deliver for them. And we are also going to be making clear that if they are in need of assistance at this time, how they can interact with city government so that we can meet those needs, both in the immediate and the medium term. And we are going to make certain that for New Yorkers, we limit any of the impact on their day-to-day life that will come as a consequence of the actions the federal government has taken.
Okay, 2 questions.
Let's do one after the other.
Quick. On Maduro, apparently he's going to be brought to New York City to face charges. Did you speak about that with the president? Is there anything that you plan to do or can do around his potential detention here in New York, or is that a federal issue that's out of your purview?
As the mayor of New York City, it is my responsibility to ensure that whatever the actions the federal government takes, that they have a minimal impact on the day-to-day lives of New Yorkers. And so that will be a focus of my administration.
So I got a question. Do y'all think that when Mamdani went to the White House, that this was a conversation that they had about Maduro? It's like, look, Mamdani, okay, you about to be the mayor? Well, check it out. Sooner or later, during your administration, we're going to go ahead and get Maduro and bring him to New York. Are you ready for it? Can you handle it? What are you going to say? Was that a thing that they told him or not? Do you think they would have told him? Or would they be afraid that there could be a leak if they told them? Y'all let me know. Let's keep on going here. Now, this is what Zohran said during his inauguration about we're going to reject the rigidity of rugged individualism and embrace the, what did he say? I forget the whole thing, but he said we're going to reject rugged individualism and embrace collectivism. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to embrace collectivism. Okay, I don't even like really getting on the plane with y'all half the time because I'm smelling all kind of smells. I don't want to, I'm not a collectivist kind of person. I think we should just do well as individuals and do well by society as an individual rather than working as a collective at all times, because again, it never works. Well, let's watch.
Come the change. For too long, those fluent in the good grammar of civility have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty. Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs will be met. Their hopes and dreams and interests will be reflected transparently in government. They will shape our future. And if for too long these communities have existed as distinct from one another, we will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers.
Now, I'm going to pause. I'm going to say the same thing I said before. He's a good speaker. He's a good speaker. He's a good politician. He's a good speaker. The problem is he has bad ideas. That's the only issue. If we could just implant some good ideas into that brain, some good things actually work into his brain, then we'd be rocking and rolling. He'd be a great politician. He could be the president one day. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm saying he's good. Put it to you that way. He's good to be in this role, but he has bad ideas. So I hope that he does not follow through on his promises with this communist stuff. I hope not. I hope that he's able to hear from Trump and others that can get in his ear, get in his head, and have him behave differently. That's my hope and prayer. Because if not, you guys are in big trouble in New York City. And you heard it here first. You heard it here first. But you already knew that. That ain't really no secret. But anyway, let's keep on going. And let's keep rocking and rolling here. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And let me play AOC right quick, and then I'm going to get to some of the Somali stuff. But there's some reactions from people who understand what daycares are. But before I get to that, this is going to be AOC. Now, AOC, not a very good speaker, okay? Not a very good speaker, not a very good presence on stage. They might try and run AOC in 2028. I say good luck with that. Good luck with that. I don't really see that going very well for AOC or the Democratic Party at all, but let's go ahead and watch her here speak about Zohran.
Zohran Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of our great city. He will be our first immigrant mayor in over a century. And he will be the youngest mayor of New York City in generations. But most importantly, Zohran will be a mayor for all of us. With that.
All right, so there we go. Again, that is AOC talking about Zohran. And then somebody said it in the comments about Zohran. Not born in the USA, so he couldn't be the president. He couldn't be the president, no way, even if he was born here. You know, but definitely not to be a Ugandan, Indian dude. Nah, not to be the president. Nah. Even if he was born here with that background, it'd be sketchy. But if you born somewhere else, you can't even do it at all. That's not one of the 3 requirements. Again, the 3 requirements to become the president in the USA, y'all know them, but I'm going to repeat for the newbies. You must be at least 35 years old. You must be born in the USA. And you must have lived in the USA for 14 years. So you may have some people that are born here and then just leave and then come back when they fully grown adults. Barack Obama, as an example. So he went to Jeremiah Wright's School of How to Be Black for 20 years before he ran for president. That's a different story, and I digress. Let's keep going. All right. So this is going to be a woman who owns a daycare facility. Now, she owns a legitimate daycare, and she's going to tell us about how things really go and why the Somali thing is a straight up fraud. Let's watch. Let's watch. And let me get a little bit. There we go. Let's let it rock.
So my husband and I own a daycare center here in Texas that we started from originally our living room. We were in-home providers. And I have a lot of feelings about this Minnesota fraud case. I watched a video where the journalist had gone up to the different facilities and somebody answered the door and they had asked for a tour. If somebody asks for a tour at my facility, guess what? They're getting a tour. I'm going to drop everything I'm doing because you have to be on your hustle game to be able to run these facilities. It is so expensive to run a daycare center and it is so easy to go under. And so immediately to not have any documentation or enrollment packets, you don't have enrollment packets made, you won't let anybody come in for a tour. Also, have you ever worked with kids? Like, there's no way you can open the door. I could be on the phone in my front office and somebody's crying or giggling or yelling. There are no sounds in those facilities. The fact that this went on for so long is so insane. And what really pisses me off is that now it's trickling down to people who aren't even related, who are just trying to do the right thing and run their facility. I got an email just now while I was at the gym from Workforce Commission about how, hey, if you are going to need funding for da-da-da-da-da from NCI, you need to give us an estimation of how much you think you're going to need because they might be asking us to jump through all these different hoops for attendance and for everything else, which is cool. But my point is, why do I, an upstanding citizen, somebody who's honest about what I'm doing, my heart is in it, why do I have to deal with this crap? I'm not even in that state. Most wonderful families that get on these wait lists to be in these subsidy programs, and they wait years and years and years to be able to actually get this subsidy to help them pay for childcare so they can go to work.
Exactly. So my question is, how are they getting all these money, subsidies, and everything else so quickly and so easily? It appears to be a systemic fraud system. Maybe those who are in charge of doling out the monies are in the same community, or they get in the kickback, or something else going on, obviously. Because if it was so easy to do what they're doing, then everybody would be able to do it. But obviously it's not. So the question is why? Now, here are some quote unquote assisted living centers that do not appear to be that. Now, I know a friend of mine runs some of these kind of places here where I live, and they are not private houses. These are like, you know, they look kind of like big schools or like a moderate sized school to a certain extent. And I've been in these places before. Like I've visited family in these kind of places, and it depends on where you at. I've been in nursing homes and like assisted living is different. A nursing home is like a hospital, like a penitentiary. It's not really good in a nursing home. Some of the lower ones. They had my granny in there for some kind of like injury or something many years ago. It was bad. I saw a family member on life support in one of those. It was terrible. But assisted living is like you got an apartment. They come to your house. They come to your apartment, knocking your door, giving you your medication if you need it. You have activity areas. You got a community of people. It's like an apartment where you have your own apartment and you have people that help you through the day if you're elderly. But let's watch what these are and see what's going on.
It looked like your typical single-family home, but it bills itself as an assisted living facility, and it receives a lot of taxpayer money. Here in Minnesota, the number of people getting help in assisted living facilities is up, double the growth of other programs. But here's the kicker. The rate of payment in this assisted living space is 10 to 15 times the growth in other programs. Hi. So we pulled the data on assisted living facilities in the Minneapolis area. Minneapolis, as you might expect, has a lot, 169. St. Paul, with a population of 307,000, has 83. But Brooklyn Center, 30,000 population, has 106. And Brooklyn Park, population of 84,000, has 181, more than Minneapolis, a city 5 times its size. But this assisted living facility puts this all in perspective. It's owned by a man indicted for laundering $1 million in the Feeding Our Future scam. He's Gandhi Mohammed, now Gandhi Abdi Kadai, and his LLC owns the homes. His wife runs the assisted living facilities, and the state is continuing to pay.
Pause. If he was indicted for the Feeding Our Future situation, shouldn't you also get this? Shouldn't you also just look into it, say, oh, okay, well, he did this. Well, let's look into this. Let's investigate this regular house that is pretending to be a assisted living facility. Like, let's look into it. But maybe they didn't. I don't know.
As he awaits his trial. Okay. We went to each of them.
We're curious because the man who owns this building was indicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Did you know that?
No.
Don't know that?
No. You think what?
Do you know the Feeding Our Future scandal? The scam that was, there's all these indictments related to false, billing on feeding children. No.
I don't know why they go to the door and ask them questions like that. They're going to say, no, they're going to lie. Now, what Nick Shirley did was he went and was saying, hey, where are the kids at? It's the middle of the daytime. Where are the kids? Or what he also did was say, hey, can I get an application? Can I get some information about this healthcare place? I want some healthcare. Can I get some pamphlets or something? And he was totally just rebuffed. But to ask them, hey, are you guys engaged in the fraud? They're going to say no.
No, that's not true.
That it's not true?
It's not true. The way I know that, no.
These assisted living facilities received over $2.3 million in state money last year alone. A Minnesota Reformer article says he has been paid a whopping $49 million since 2016.
How is it possible that this person who's been indicted in Feeding Our Future also is still collecting checks from the state, running these assisted living centers with his wife?
I honestly have no idea. It seems like the most basic due diligence would have been to run a check of all the people indicted in Feeding Our Future and then make sure they're not getting paid from other state programs.
The most basic of basic things you would do is that. When I said that earlier, it was not rocket science. Anybody with a brain would have said the same thing that I said. So the question is, why wasn't that done? I think it was done on purpose.
And at least in this case, and I've heard perhaps in others, they didn't do that.
State Representative Kristen Robbins is the chair of the House Fraud and Oversight Committee here.
So this person owns assisted living facilities, and his wife runs the service provider part of it. So he owns the property. One of the properties was purchased with the same shell company he used to money launder in Feeding Our Future. And now that same shell company has been used to buy a new assisted living facility property. It's unconscionable that they haven't done the most basic due diligence to cross-check that Feeding Our Future defendants aren't getting additional state money.
It's so simple. It's so simple, but maybe they didn't want to do it. Maybe they were just saying, okay, we're good on this and that's all. We know You know, the other things that we know are fraudulent and were purchased with fraudulent money, we just let it go. See, that's the problem with a place like Minnesota. The corruption is systemic and relentless, and you got to break at it piece by piece, little by little, to get down to the bottom of it. Now, here is someone who does not like what Nick Shirley has done with exposing what's happening in Minnesota and what's been happening there for many, many years. Look, again, this is not anything new at all. I've been covering it for a long time. In different cases, there's been fraud happening. I know that Minnesota Somalis specifically are known for fraud. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret. This is, if it's a secret, it's the worst kept secret in the world. Now, some, again, don't like that Nick Shirley has shone a light on it. So they say, you know what? I'm going to get on the internet and make a crazy video reacting to it. You can already tell by this facial pose that it's going to be one of the worst takes you ever heard in your life. Let's watch.
Hi, I know we're two creepy grown men, but can we see the children, please? Excuse me, do your kids go here? No, my kids do not go here, but I need every single child outside of the building now. You Somalians are always just scamming people. You have an agenda, you know that? I need to see all the kids, or we're gonna call ICE. You have 3 seconds. You Somalians are gonna let us in. I knew you guys were up to something ever since I saw one of you in the grocery store a couple days ago. I knew you were up to something, and now I finally have it. I need to see them. I need to see the children. Oh, I know why you don't want us to see the kids. You're probably not citizens. That's it. Let us see the little boys and girls immediately. This is harassment. What department are you from? Nope, this isn't harassment, and I'm from the YouTube department. She locked the door. Well, that proves it. They're scammers because they're not letting me use my Meta glasses to film the cute little boys and girls.
Now, I get the idea. You're trying to frame Nick and everybody else that is coming in to ask questions as some kind of predator or something like this, creepy or whatever. No, it is simple as you have a daycare and there's no children. If you go to a daycare, you're going to hear children. You're going to know that there's children here. And people who live in the community say they never see any kids going in or out of the building. Everybody knows what's going on. There's fraud happening here, and we're investigating the fraud. And why do they always focus on the daycares? Because Nick also went to healthcare facilities. So if he goes to a healthcare place and says, hey, can I get some healthcare? Can I get a brochure? Can I get a pamphlet? And he's being told, no, you're trespassing, get away. Then what's that? You guys don't want to talk about that because you can't make a funny video about it. You can't say that he's trying to look at children when he shouldn't be. Nah, you can't say that. All you're trying to do right now is hide the fact that there's fraud happening here. And anybody can see it, not just in the daycare, but also in the nursing homes, assisted living facilities, the healthcare places, the home transport places. You got Somalis riding around in the vehicle with nobody in the back talking about they got a home healthcare or a home transport service. Be serious. Be for real. Be all the way for real. So yeah, shout out to everyone who's out there in Minneapolis, investigating what's going on. I'm glad that this story is being brought to the general public's attention. Now, this is a more recent video from Nick, and he says a fraudulent daycare received $2,450,000, even though it was shut down previously. Okay, let's check it out.
Minnesota.
Hey, somebody says, how am I going to be live and drop a short? Well, because I'm ABL. That's what I do. I'm just playing. But all my shorts come from the lives, if you didn't know.
Here in Minnesota, blatant fraud is taking place within the government and the Somalian population. Right here, you see a daycare center. It says it's Creative Minds Daycare. Creative Minds Daycare was actually shut down and was reopened the next day underneath the name Super Kids. And just in the past year, in 2025, this daycare alone has received $2.45 million. It's rumored here that some of these daycares And these other businesses that are committing fraud have been rumored to be giving money back to terrorist groups in Somalia. There's a 35% chance on Polymarket right now that those people who helped defraud the government will be deported back to Somalia. But this daycare alone received over $2.45 million. So maybe if you want to become a millionaire here in the United States, you should open up a daycare center and receive government funding from a governor like Tim Walz here inside the state of Minnesota.
So shout out to Nick. That was kind of a Polymarket ad right there, but I'm not mad at you, boy. Get your money. Get your money, youngins. You know, people kind of get mad at people like Nick saying, oh, well, they're making money. Well, if you are a regular reporter working for CBS, CNN, ABC, Fox, etc., you get paid to be a reporter, don't you? You get paid pretty well to do some of these things, don't you? If you are an on-air anchor, you are a Brett Baer, you are a Tucker Carlson, you are a Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow getting paid millions of dollars a year to go out there and be a bulldagger halfway a little bit on TV for a living. Okay, so don't worry about Nick getting money because they're getting money too. The difference is that Nick is honest, so he earns his money in the correct way rather than in the incorrect way by putting out propaganda for the mainstream media. Okay, but anyway, so this is a daycare that said that someone stole documents. Now look, bro. You gonna tell me, like, why are you showing me this hole right here? This hole the size of a basketball, maybe. Why are you showing me stuff in that hole? Like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about exactly?
What they say vandals did. Now, this is where they say the vandals got into the day.
So vandals, let me get this straight now. Y'all see the size of this hole? That's the hole right there. I know the left side of it is kind of obfuscated by the woman's, garment. But someone, a human being, got through that. I gotta believe that story. You telling me? For real, for real? Okay. Whatever.
Daycare through cinder block and appeared to be unsuccessful when trying many other ways. The daycare says it appears the vandals first tried to saw into the door of the Family Dollar next door in the shopping center, but that didn't work. The manager claims those who broke in went straight to the office, stealing information of the many children who were taken care of here.
We are not a part of any harmful things that are being said.
Pause. Mr. Muhammad, and you know what? I was just joking on the last stream I did about a guy's name being Muhammad. One of these scammers guys was literally named Muhammad. I could not make it up. I was like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Muhammad. I could just say that and I'll pretty much be right. Anyway, this gentleman right here who owns the Nokomis daycare, or he's the manager of this daycare, allegedly, these glasses are apparently Chrome Hearts. Now, they could be knockoff. They could be Temu or something like that. So, I'm just saying. But if these glasses are real, $2,200 off the rip.
We have no problem with CCAP, and our licensing has been good. Even the inspections. I want to say no intimidation is going to stop us.
Of what they say.
So, yeah, if you want to tell me that somebody got into that hole right there, I'm not believing it, bro. I'm not believing it. I see your glasses. I see you flossing. I see your quarter zip. I see all of that, bro. I see her fancy little garment that probably costs a whole bunch of money. The elaborate trash bag outfit is real fancy, real expensive. A lot of money flowing through that little hole in the wall where you probably had the money buried at. You probably had the money, the illegitimate money's buried in there, or something else buried in there. Hey, you might mess around and got a narco dog in there. He started barking, and you like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I bet you don't know what happened. But anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Exactly, LC. Hey, the dog ate my homework because miraculously somebody got through this little hole the size of a basketball, and cinder blocks is in the way. They got through the hole and they gained access to the files and they stole them all. So the documents I need to show that I'm legitimate and I'm not a scammer just happened to get stolen. What you want me to do? The dog ate my homework. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But anyway, here's the woman who was fumbling when she said fraud was bad, but we got a wider angle, a different angle. Okay. Now, of course, you got her out there and the white liberals, of course, always by their side. one thing, a few things the white liberals like: scammers, drug dealers, who else? Gang members, illegal aliens, black criminals. They love all these people, and they bend over backwards to protect them. Now, if you got a white person, a white criminal, now they might be a little bit harsh. Okay, which is okay, but let's be harsh with everyone, not just selective people, because when you're not, it impacts all of us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not much of a good speaker, but I'll try my best. My name is Deco Noor. I'm a parent who receives federal funding for childcare for my kiddo. Over 20,000 kids will lose access to childcare programs.
So right now you can tell she's reading, okay? Read from a script. And as you all know, at a certain point, she's going to read something that she probably didn't want to read.
And that, that thousands of children rely on childcare, and thousands of parents rely on childcare. Therefore, if childcare will, oh my God. I'm currently a medical student. I rely on childcare. I work. If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad.
Oops. Oops. Sorry I said that. I said fraud is bad. Me, the fraudster with a crazy diamond ring on my finger, little 2 carat something. I can't say that because I know we're engaging in fraud. Now, she didn't say that, but that's what I think she's thinking. What do y'all think? Y'all let me know. Look at that rock. Shine like a diamond, beautiful. Look at that. Look at that right there. Where'd that come from? Where'd that Muhammad get that money? Where does your husband Muhammad get that money for that rock from? You talking about some, without Medicaid, I can't work. Well, you could do something, obviously, with that big rock on your finger. ABL, that's fake. I doubt it. Look at that. Do you see the rock glistening? Like, it's kind of like she's kind of showing it off. It's like, oh yeah, look at poor me. That's what I see right there. Hold on. Let's go back a little bit. Oops. Now flash the rock. Flash that rock. Bing. You cannot make any of this stuff up. I promise. I don't know what fictional writer is able to have a mind to think of these things, but you cannot make this stuff. Somebody say it, leer at that. Yeah, leer at that rock on the finger. Hey, they're not hiding nothing. Chrome hearts, diamond rings, big house, big cars. It's whatever. We got it all. Now, this person, an angry liberal daycare center says that Trump sent our nephew, Nick Shirley, to Minnesota to destroy the Somali community. Let's watch.
So let's be honest about how we really got here. Our president decided he doesn't like the Somali community and he wants to destroy them. Speaker DeMuth and the GOP caucus sent a YouTuber out to create the narrative they want out there, not the truth.
I lie. Nobody sent Nick. Nick went on his own. Nick is his own man. There was not some kind of GOP instructions to send Nick out there. That did not happen. That is a lie.
Speaker DeMuth and the
Now, Speaker DeMuth out there in Minnesota said that she did that, but Nick responded and said, I don't know you, lady. Nobody sent me to Minnesota. I went on my own.
GOP caucus sent a YouTuber out to create the narrative they want out there, not the truth, what they want you to believe. The childcare system in Minnesota is very complicated, even for those of us who have worked in it for decades. So I can understand that it is easy to believe what you see on social media. But the truth is that Minnesota has guardrails in place to make defrauding the child care system extremely difficult. Minnesota does investigate suspected fraud in child care and hold people accountable, and they will continue to do so because fraud is never acceptable. But cutting off child care funding to everyone in the state is not the answer, and it's not acceptable.
All right, there we go. So she's mad at Nick, throwing out baseless allegations, talking about, oh, he was sent by the Republicans. They sent him out there. The new media, we're not going to be doing that. We don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to be sent by Republicans. That's not necessary any longer. That's just not the case. Now, did you guys see what CBS said? CBS came out and said a lot that starting today, which was January 1st, New Year's Day, 2026, starting today, they are going to be reporting the news more from the average American's perspective rather than the left narrative, okay? Because they lost the trust of the people and they want to get the trust back. Now, CBS is not doing a very good job of that lately, but let's get to what he said first, and then we're going to see what they have done after saying this.
A lot has changed since the first person sat in this chair, but for me, the biggest difference is people do not trust us like they used to. And it's not just us, it's all of legacy media. And I get it. I get it because I've been hearing about it from just about everybody for more than 20 years as I've traveled America on this assignment or that. My mom's neighbors in West Virginia, my own neighbors in New York City, thousands and thousands of conversations in between. Sometimes people want to talk to me about our coverage of NAFTA or the Iraq War. Other times it's all about Hillary Clinton's emails or Russiagate. Or more recently, COVID lockdowns, Hunter Biden's laptop, or the president's fitness for office. The point is, on too many stories, the press has missed the story because we've taken into account the perspective of advocates and not the average American. Or we put too much weight in the analysis of academics or elites and not enough on you. And I know this because at certain points, I have been you. I have felt this way too. I felt like what I was seeing and hearing on the news didn't reflect what I was seeing and hearing in my own life, and that the most urgent questions simply weren't being asked. So here's my promise to you today and every time you see me in this chair. You come first, not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS. I report for you.
Okay, this is CBS. I ain't gonna play the whole thing. It ain't that long, but I ain't gonna play the whole thing. You get the idea. This guy's saying, you know what, on CBS, we lost your trust. We are not reporting things properly, or we did not do that in the past. But as long as I'm in this chair, since I'm here, going forward, we're going to report things a little bit better. Now, a side note, before we get to what they actually have done over the past couple of days, this shirt, bro, where's your jacket at? You got a transparent undershirt, it's a dress shirt, but it's too transparent. You gotta put a jacket on. That's a side note. That was kind of irritating me. I ain't trying to see through your shirt. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to. Anyway, let's watch what CBS has actually done. That was January 1st, again, 2026, when that came out. Okay, New Year's Day, just a couple of days ago. Now, this is what they put out January 2nd. Okay. Now, let me see if I can get it properly right here. This is going to be an image from CBS. There we go. So you see what they say. Officials say 9 Minnesota child care centers named in viral video were operating as expected this week. And you see right there at the bottom, CBS News. Now, I don't know if it was just that one guy speaking for himself and not the entire network, but what I heard was the entire network is going to go a different direction, but I can't tell. So what y'all did with these daycare centers is just call them and be like, hey, are you guys legitimate? Do you have real kids in there? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. And then that's it. Or you might go there after Nick Shirley goes there, and then they bring in some kids from who knows where. Probably the owners come in there with their own kids and their sister's kids and their brother's kids and their friend and their family's kids to look good for the camera. So then when you come with your news camera or when you call on the phone, you're able to hear children and see children. Don't you know when you're being scammed? This is why mainstream media sucks, because they don't understand basic things sometimes. They are, again, good for investigating if a thing happened or not, but to investigate whether something is legitimate or illegitimate, they don't really know. Hunter Biden laptop, Somali daycare, they don't really understand these things. This is where guys like Nick Shirley and many others come in handy, because we're going to get down to the bottom of things that the mainstream media cannot or will not do. Okay. Now, this is going to be former CBS reporter Catherine Herridge exposing how the network suppressed the Hunter Biden story. Okay, remember that? The laptop, of course. Let's watch some of this here.
We eventually broadcast a story about the Hunter Biden laptop after the midterm elections in 2022. We commissioned a forensic review. I got a copy of the laptop data. I have it here still. I went to a lot of effort to get the cleanest copy of the laptop data, the same data that was provided to the FBI, because I didn't want to have any professional journalistic risk for CBS News. I wanted this thing to be totally locked down. When we did the story, we did it after the midterms. I argued against that because it was ready before the midterms. And my training is that you should always do the story when it's ready to go. You should not be dictated by the political cycle. Once we got the laptop story on the morning news, I felt that there was so much there that we could still do. For example, in the text messages, there's unfortunately the use of the N-word, the liberal use of the N-word.
Huh?
And I thought this was worthy of a story, but I was told that it was not something that interested CBS News.
Well, I'm interested. I love to hear that. Catherine, if you're going to put it out, hey man, let's see it.
Then I asked for a forensic review of the laptop, and we found that there were more than half a dozen emails that were likely used by Joe Biden. I thought that was a story, but the answer that came back was, well, we need to know what the content is of the emails. But that was going to be a years-long process. So there was no way. So there were a lot of reasons I was told not to do it, not to pursue it.
Of course, because that's what CBS did, or what they do. And a lot of these alphabet letter mainstream media outlets, they're in the hand of the Democratic Party. They hand in hand with them. So anything like that would embarrass President Biden or his crackhead son or his crazy daughter would be bad for business, because it'd be bad for the Democratic Party. As simple as that. Now, let's see if CBS will go a different direction, since they announced, or that shoe shirt guy announced that they wanted to go a different direction. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. But again, this is former CBS reporter Catherine Herridge blowing the whistle on what CBS is all about. Okay, what they really do and how they get down to the censorship game. All right, but let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Now, did you guys see the New Year's Eve celebration? A young lady, I don't know her name. You guys might know her name. Matter of fact, hold on. Before I introduce this, let me just get her name correctly. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Okay, so it's a New Year Eve comedian and Amy Sedaris. Sedaris, Sedaris. Amy Sedaris. She's a comedian. She told a joke that some did not like too much. They got offended. Okay. They got offended. Look at these hairstyles. I mean, good grief. Right out of a catalog. Looking like a Ken doll, a Barbie doll. Hey, to all the men out there, to all the heterosexual men out there, you don't want to achieve this look. You're looking like you just put on a straight toupee, Mr. Potato Head. Okay, you a bald head, no hair at all. You get some kind of plastic piece they put on top of your head. Your hair matches your jacket. But I digress. I'm kind of being silly. Let's watch.
Where's the best place to meet a man in 2026?
Oh, really? Well, where's a good place to meet a man? I'd say in the ladies' room, but I don't know. Where can you meet a man? Maybe Bergdorf's?
Oh,
I don't know. Where is a good place to meet a man in 2026?
I wouldn't know.
I mean, you meet men at different places.
Fire station?
Where's the...
Anderson, you told me something I wouldn't know. I know you know full well Anderson Cooper where to meet men. Don't front, and that's your boyfriend right there. Look, don't lie like that. Andy was keeping it all the way real. Like, yeah, I know where to meet him at. If you are a gay male in New York City, you know where to meet men. Don't play no games. But a place would be a ladies' room because you got so many Transformers playing around in there. That's where they at. Hey, just go to the bathroom as a woman and there'd be a man right there. Now, he might be 300 pounds and he might be taking the doo-doo, but it's okay. You still met a man in the bathroom. So there we go. Problem solved. But anyway, I don't think she'll come back next year for the New Year celebration. I don't think so. That might not have been the joke they really wanted on CNN. Okay. That might have been a little bit too much for them. Okay. Anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That helps me out tremendously. Now, speaking of New Year's Eve celebrations, a German streamer went to celebrate with some Muslims out in Germany, I suppose, to show that it would be safe, but things did not work out quite the way she thought. Okay, let's watch this.
Mit Handschuhe auf. Besser ist. Au! Au! Fuck! Au! Ah, ich habe irgendwas abbekommen. Ich habe irgendwas gegen den Kopf bekommen. Au! Ich glaube, wenn ich so 2 Meter Türsteher-Schrank wäre, hätten die das nicht gemacht. Ah, schon wieder, Alter! Wichser!
So, it looks like she's getting stoned by the Muslims. Now, the first time where she got hit, I couldn't really see anything fly. Hold on, there we go. Look, there go Muhammad right there. Hold on, let me zoom out right quick. Let me come back and then let me zoom in and zoom out. Okay, Muhammad got a nice little wind up. See, there we go, right there, right on the left-hand side of the screen. Okay, you can see it pretty clear. Let me just play it in slow motion, frame by frame, and then here come Muhammad, boom, right in the head, stoned her. Got hit one time, and then you could see the stone in another frame. Let's go ahead a little bit here, and then you can kind of see it the next time she get hit. Let me go forward, and then you can see it right there, right above the N in the Witten. You'll see it. Watch. Okay. And then boom. Hold on. There it is. I'm playing it in real time so you can see it.
Schrank, wer hätten die das nicht gemacht? Ah, schon wieder.
You saw it? One more time.
So 2 Meter Türsteher-Schrank, wer hätten die das nicht gemacht? Ah, schon wieder.
So, the moral of the story is, blonde, white German lady with the Muslims in Germany, not very safe. You might get stoned for looking the way you look. And you don't appear to be dressed immodestly. You have on a coat. It's cold outside. What if you were dressed immodestly? Man, you must want to get injured for real. You might get hurt bad. So Islam, Western culture, it's not really a mix when they go hard like that. Stoning ladies in public, not very good. Why is she there trying to get SA, trying to get assaulted? That's what it seems like. Okay, that's definitely what it seems like. If that's not the case, I can't tell. Okay, I cannot tell. Now, California is an interesting place. Leaving Germany right quick. California is interesting. And this man is armed with a samurai sword, grenades, AR-15s, and M90 shotguns for his squatter removal service. Now, by the paper, how that sounds, I'm kind of on board because some of these squatters are crazy and desperate times often call for desperate measures. But let's watch. Let's go ahead and check them out.
Breaching is breaking into the property, and then clearing is actively going through the rooms and making sure there's no active threat.
According to Jacobs, lease agreements are signed between him and the property owners to allow his team to go in and remove squatters. And it's not just samurai swords used.
AR-15s, we have M590, shotguns.
He's been in the work of removing squatters for 7 years and says it's a completely legal process. I talked with Cron 4 legal analyst Stephen Clark, who says that might be the case, but that the tactics used to remove someone from a property could lead to a criminal liability.
The samurai sword is a deadly weapon, and if there was a confrontation with a tenant or someone overstaying on the property, and that samurai sword was used to inflict injury, that could result in a criminal prosecution.
Clark recommends going through law enforcement and the court process required to remove someone from the property. Jacobs disagrees, saying he's well aware of the risks, which is why he takes precautions to avoid legal battles down the road.
I have a $1 million insurance policy. I have an in-house attorney. Heck, people make wrongful claims against my business all the time just to try and get money.
There we go. So yeah, shout out to my man and his ponytail. The ponytail is
insurance.
The ponytail is ponytailing. Okay, we got the multiple knots in it. I don't know. He might have little gadgets in there. That could be the grenade holster right there. You see the little bun and the little, the sausage link hairstyle in the back. But guess what? In each of them inflated sausage links, you got one grenade. Act crazy if you want to. All right, straight from the link right here. Boom, grenade already cooked. When I take it out of the bun, the pin will come out automatically, and then I got enough time from the bun to my hand, hold it for a minute, cook it, and you finished. You finished. So shout out to him. Hey, we need some people like that in America. Okay, we need guys like that. Ain't no real Batman or Superman or Captain America, so Captain Frank Bun, Captain Frank Link Bun will do. All right, that will do. Let's keep going here. All right, where we at? Okay, this was funny. So in California still, San Francisco. Now, they in San Francisco have approved a private fund to pay reparations to black citizens, but they say that they can't pay it themselves directly because they don't have any money, meaning the city of San Francisco. So they're relying upon donations from the public to pay it. All right. Now, my question is, what's the point in doing that? Why not just why not just have people out there with a cup talking about can I get some money?
$1 million payments to eligible black.
Let me start from the top.
$5 million payments to eligible black residents. However, paying for it may take some creative accounting. As the New York Post reports, the city's admitting it can't sign the checks as it's facing a $1 billion deficit.
So my question is, what's the point of announcing it? You can't pay it because you are $1 billion in debt. You're relying upon donations. Like, what are we talking about exactly? Reparations. And then plus, are there any black folks in San Fran anymore? And was there any slavery up there? This is just, I don't know, man. They just do things that don't make any sense. Just stupid stuff for no reason. It's lip service just to please some people. The majority of them are not even black. Okay, you got the NAACP with 85% non-black people in San Francisco and on the left coast in general. Listen, one thing about the left coast, there's not really any black people there. I noticed that. When I was in LA a couple of times, everybody was white or Hispanic or Asian, like Chinese specifically. But very few black people, if at all. It wasn't really a thing. Now, out here where I live in the South, there's black folks everywhere. But West Coast, California, few and far in between. So it's just lip service for a handful of people. And I think the majority of them who are crying are not even black. They're just some white folks or Hispanics or whatever crying for black people for some reason. Okay, now look, we got some more of these. Speaking about LA, California, again, we got this food bot. Have you guys seen these food bots where you live? I've seen them in Atlanta. It's a video on my Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, showing the food bot stuck behind some garbage cans. Now, I guess the food bots have upgraded. No longer will they be stuck behind debris. No longer will they be impeded by anything in their way. They're going to get your McDonald's, your Burger King, your Pizza Hut pizza to your door one way or another. Let's watch. I have so many questions. First of all, let's go back. So if a motorcycle or some kind of bike or something like that on the sidewalk, it's kind of in the way of the automatic little food buggy, food cart or whatever. So as the robot is coming up and down the sidewalk, it pauses. Like, okay, what do I do? It turns a little bit to try and get past it. But then once it gets to the bike's handlebar, look what it does. So it shifts. Now, I don't know if it shifted because it got stuck on the handlebar or if it shifted to try and lift the handlebar up out of the way and get past it. What do y'all think happened? I think it did that on purpose to get the bike out of the way because of leverage and physics. If I get it right here on the handlebar, I can knock it over and go to my destination. One way or another, you're going to get these chicken nuggets to your door hot and ready. If I got to run over your bike in the process, run over a small child, run over your pet, I'm going to do it. It's okay. Okay, it is okay. But yeah, shout out to the food bot. Do y'all think the food bot tipped the bike on purpose, or was it just a mistake, an accident, because it was trying to get past and they got caught up on the handlebar? What do y'all think? Evil robot, Chucky, Megan. Speaking about evil robots, we got way more problems, way more issues, way more troubles, way more dangerous situations. Okay. Now, I covered the story where the Waymo took a wrong turn and wound up during an active crime scene. And this one, they wound up in an active fire scene. Okay, let's go ahead and throw this on the screen right quick.
A Waymo ride in Hollywood took a wrong turn straight into an active fire scene. The autonomous car drove past road flares and into an area where the Los Angeles Fire Department had blocked off the street. It appears the Waymo vehicle had at least one passenger in the back seat. Witnesses say the car stayed inside the closure for about 10 minutes before it made a U-turn and drove away. A Waymo ride.
So, I mean, imagine you were in the actual Waymo and then there's a fire and the Waymo drives right to the fire. You got sirens, and I'm sure it's sound. It's not just quiet, but the Waymo just sitting like, oh, what do I do? Because again, the Waymo is confused. All these lights going on. I don't see traffic lights, or I see one, but I don't know how to go forward. I'm just sitting here confused. A human being would have thought, okay, first, let's not go through the barrier. Or second, if I did go through the barrier accidentally, I could just turn around and go somewhere else. But when you're not dealing with a human driver, you're going to have incidents like this. Now, I know you could train the AI or whatever to do certain things, but there will be certain circumstances where the AI does not have an answer for you, and you could just be out of luck. Okay. Hey, Bit Only says, imagine you were a passenger in the middle of the shootout with the police. Hey, man, listen, if that's going on, I'm praying to God, please get me out of here. Don't let the police shoot me. I'm not trying to do nothing to them. And really what I want to do is get out of the car. But if I get out the car, am I going to get lit up? Am I going to get training day under a bridge? I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's dangerous out here. Yeah, me, like I say, give me a car with a driver that's gas powered. Call me old school. Call me grandpa, unk, whatever you want to call me is fine. Now I know what my dad, my granddad, all of them were talking about when they want to keep things old school. My granddad had old school cars to the end. Them big, what was it? We had an Oldsmobile, some kind of big land yacht. That thing was so big. A Lincoln, it was a Lincoln town car. He had two town cars. One, an old one from like the 60s or 70s, and then he had this big green one with like cream interior, leather. It was beautiful. But those things were so big. You're talking about a sedan the size of a pickup truck, kind of, sort of. It was humongous. But anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Okay, I got a few more things here. This man says the South outperforms the North when speaking about your standard of living, the middle class, how they live. The South outperforms the North. Let's watch. All right, and let's get some sound. There we go. Let it rock.
I hate to break this to you guys, but the North is not America. I came down to the South 1 year. I'm happy. There's no fluoride in my water. There's things for kids to do. There's work down here for the kids. It's cheaper to own a home down here. There's nothing in the sky blocking the sun. The beaches are free. The roads don't have a billion potholes. If I want to go to Fort Myers or go to Orlando, I'm not spending $70 in tolls to have nothing done with my money. Get out of the North if you're middle class. You've lost. I hate to break.
Yeah, I agree. And same thing with California, all these places. If you are in California and you have a lot of money, you're doing very well for yourself, life is grand. You got the beach right there when it's under fire. You got the beach right there, the ocean. It's beautiful. It's lovely. The weather, it's not going to rain, 75 degrees, lovely. But it's so expensive. Oh my gosh. Like the brief period of time I was there, I was shocked. And Uber, listen, if you know about LA, let me tell you about LA right quick. My experience with Los Angeles. Now, I was staying at a hotel by the airport. That's where I stay when I come because I don't want to go too far out. I don't know where I'm at. I'm a newbie. I'm a local. I stay where it's safe. I stay by the airport. Now, to go from there to Manhattan Beach, which is like not far, maybe 5-10 miles, $75, $100. Each Uber ride going a short distance relatively, at least $75. It's like Uber expensive, food's expensive, everything is expensive. Rent, oh my God. Imagine paying rent anywhere in Los Angeles County, anywhere around there. It's ridiculous. But if you got the money, it's okay. If you don't, well, good luck. Hey, if you don't have money in California, you better learn how to shoot your gun. You better learn how to rob. Hey, be a Somali or something like that and figure it out that way. I'm just playing. But seriously, down south, though, great cost of living, sometimes slower pace. If you want faster pace, go to Atlanta, go to Nashville, go somewhere like that, or go to Florida, go to Miami if you want fast pace. It's southern, but not the south, but close enough. You can live here and live well without being a multi-trillionaire. If you're middle class, the South is a great place to be, for sure. Born and raised in LA, 8-bit only. Boy, hey, 8-bit only, you must be a multi-millionaire, man. Hey, let me hold $5. let me hold something, man. I know you got some money, some of the monions over there in Los Angeles to live decently. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe y'all know better than me. But my experience for LA, expensive and elitist. Racist to a certain extent as well, which is what I expect in a white liberal dominated place or a liberal area in general. I expect the funny part about, being conservative, being the so-called black conservative is I expect racism in liberal areas all the time. I don't expect it in conservative areas. As long as you cool in a conservative area, you're not causing no problems, you just being a good person, there won't be any issues. And this is from a guy who has lived in West Virginia, born in West Virginia, and I've been to other parts of West Virginia, aside from where I'm from. I done been Beckley, Bluefield, Lewisburg, all of that. The whole state, basically. In some really, really small, 100% white places. Never had a feeling of it's racism here. Never had a feeling of danger. But going to LA, immediately. Racism, classism, instantly. Now, this video, I think, encapsulates the job crisis or a piece of it. There may be an issue with jobs being available. There may be an issue with job availability or good jobs in certain parts of the country. But there's also an issue with people not wanting to work. And I've said it before. I think when the Democrats said that Americans don't want to work, I don't think that was appropriate. What it should have said was some of us, meaning they, the Democrats, don't want to work. But let's watch.
My first day at a new job, I told him I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to my home, and I'm not going back because I didn't like it. So, it's pretty hype. My first day at a new job.
So, bro, I mean, is that what we do? We just walk out on the job and don't come back? You don't even care about them telling somebody else? Because here's my thing. Okay, I go to a job and it's not the best job right away. I'm going to just hang in there, figure it out for a while at least. I've done that back at my old job, Old Country Buffet. When I first got there my first day, I ain't like it too much because I'm washing dishes. I'm soaking wet because I don't know how to put on the apron the right way, you know, to put on the plastic one, then the regular cloth one, so you won't get so wet. I didn't know what I was doing. It's my first day on the job. I'm trying to get acclimated. It wasn't the best day, but I knew, okay, let me just stick with it and keep them getting good, and then I'll be okay. When you just quit right away, no notice, no effort, you're just going to leave, you're not really trying to work, and that is part of the problem. You can get a job, but do you want a job? Do you really want to work? Do you really want to do anything aside from just be on social media, filming yourself, talking about, oh, I left, haha. Okay. Yeah, pretty boy. Hey, it's like the you know what? Since I'm here right now, I'm gonna just talk about this. A lot of young guys kind of look like this. This is kind of their whole thing. Kind of feminine. Testosterone is not testosteroning. And a lot of it is just them choosing to settle into this kind of way. Because you got some guys look like that who grow out of it. Remember the Titans, the quarterback, remember? The California boy? Look just like this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it right quick. But of course, he was an amazing quarterback, and them California quarterbacks could be like a Tom Brady or something like this if they really just put their effort into what they're doing. Remember this guy? That was a quarterback right there. Okay, that's how he was. Okay, now I don't know if that's him later or what, but that's the way he looked in the movie. Look just like the guy we just saw, don't he? So look at him right here with the hair, and then same. The difference is your work ethic and what you want to do to improve yourself and get better. If you just want to stay right there, then you'll be right there forever. You'll be 35 years old in your mom's basement, Cheeto dust, video games, and that's it. Sunshine, that was his name from, remember the Titans, the quarterback, Sunshine. Yep. That was most certainly him. So whenever I see the young guys who look like that, I think of Sunshine from Remember the Titans every single time. You could be Tom Brady. You could be Drew Brees. You could be Aaron Rodgers. Not Drew Brees. You could be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, but you choose to just be a loser in your house, calling yourself transgender or something like this. We can't have that. Okay? He looked more girly. Toledo Joe's, who, the quarterback or the dude we just saw? Either way, you know what's going on. All right. I got a few more here. Then we're going to get some calls. Okay. Where we at? Where are we at? Okay. This is about healthcare in Canada. Because I hear quite a bit that we should have Canadian healthcare in the USA. We should have, it should be free. It should be universal. All this, that, and the third. Well, when you actually get this so-called good healthcare, it may not be what you thought it was going to be. Let's watch. And there we go. Let's let it roll.
Healthcare in Canada is absolute dog shit. It's actually insane that people say that, oh, it's free healthcare. It's the worst fucking healthcare imaginable. I strained my groin in May, okay? In May. I got an ultrasound recently. They're like, okay, you have a hernia and a groin strain. Cool. They're like, you can go to the clinic, the surgeon, to go do a consultation. Cool. Go to the surgeon. Oh, your hernia is actually not bad enough for us to do surgery. Okay, cool. I haven't been able to run or do anything lower body or be at all active, and I'm in constant pain for the last 6 months. But okay, it's not bad enough for you. So they're like, oh, but what you can do is you can go the private route. I'm like, okay, cool. How does that look? They're like, okay, go to this website. Go to the website, contact them. They're like, oh, I see that you selected that you wanted to have this done in Ontario. You can't actually do it in Ontario because that's your home province. But what is allowed is if you want to go to another province. So if I live in Ontario, I can go get private done in Quebec. And if I'm in Quebec, I can't get it. If I lived in Quebec, I wouldn't have been able to do it there. I would have to go to Ontario because it's only if you do it out of province is it allowed. How fucking stupid is this? What fucking sense does that make? So I'm going to have to drive to another province entirely just to get some decent fucking care around here? It's actually insane. And they're like, okay, like your ultrasound, you know, it didn't show anything here, but, you know, now let's go for an MRI, and they'll call you and it'll be sometime in the next 6 months. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? How is this actually a real society where like people actually live? And to be fair to the healthcare, like I see people going to the hospital every time they have a fucking headache. So like it is hard, but at the same time, it's like, this is not efficient. This is not effective. This should not be the way that we live. Like everybody who hates on the American system, I will tell you, in my time in America, when I went to any sort of doctor, hospital, anything, it is a world-class experience. So yes, you pay out of pocket a little bit, but you pay for it here through your taxes. That's what people don't realize. It's not actually free. You pay through it with your taxes. And it is extremely inefficient and ineffective. I've had this injury for 6 months now, and I'm just seeing no progress because the system is fucked.
All right, there we go. So my man's over there in Canada saying, you know, the healthcare system is not very good. It's not very good. Some people, we understand what it is when you're talking about so-called free healthcare. We know what it is, but a lot of people still don't know. They're thinking, oh, it's free. We should have that in the U.S. Well, when you actually have the so-called free healthcare, in practice, it is not what they said it was going to be on paper. That's just the reality. All right. So shout out to the Canadians. Hey, one day you may be part of the USA. I'm just saying one day it could happen. I'm not saying we should just go in and invade them and take over and, you know, get on their mounties and put on their hats. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm not saying we should just go take maple syrup and bring it on back. And it just could happen one day, potentially, perhaps. Oh, and also I saw some in the comments right now when I was looking at that. Yes, they might go ahead and have you delete yourself. You know what they call that? Euthanizing human beings. I never thought that I would see people talking about euthanizing human beings like it's okay. Dr. Kevorkian, remember Dr. Kevorkian? Dr. Kevorkian got locked up for that, didn't he? For assisted self-deletion, but now that's government policy in Canada and other parts of the world as well. That's totally crazy. Rather than treating you for your terminal illness or for your illness that could be painful, let's go ahead and delete you right now. That's crazy. That is totally nuts. All right, but if you like what you're hearing so far tonight, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. We got super chats on deck. I'm going to read these right quick. Then we're going to get to the calls. And the number to call is 706-406-3287. Again, 706-406-3287. Thank you to Denisha, pardon me, for being the ABL supporter. Thank you to Behind the Stripes USA, who says today was a W for America. Thank you to Michael Critchlow, who says Trump to Venezuelans, I'm your president now. Thank you to Dolores for the super chat. Thank you to Apple Bakar Puff Daddy, who says, ABL, what's your response to critics who will surely say that this action in Venezuela is President Trump breaking his promise of no new wars? Well, the question will be, will there be a war? That's the question, because this was not a war. This was just a direct action. A war, in my opinion, consists of continuous military fighting over a period of time, not just a 2-hour operation in which it appeared to be bloodless. Thank you to Dolores again for your super chat. Thank you to Apple, who says, ABL, do you have a street smart level of respect for the Somalis for their ability to pull off that level of fraud? How does the community feel? I don't respect that. I don't respect criminals. I don't respect criminals. And one thing about criminals is that they don't deserve protection or any kind of adoration. Okay, if you're a scammer or a fraudster, I believe you should be called out. I knew guys that in the street that were scammers, but I hated them guys. These are like the lowest level people that you could think of, because they are unrepentant. And if they are scammers, if they scam other people, then they scam you as well. You can't trust them. You can't tell them anything. You just want to stay away from them. So the scammers, I hate. I respect guys that are engaging in inter-gang violence and don't touch civilians more than a scammer, because a scammer impacts the community. The scammer impacts everybody else, because when they do things like the Somalis did, then it's going to impact other people who don't do the scamming. You saw where Trump says he's going to pause all the funding. So now if you're not a scammer, you might be affected by what's happening with the Somali scammers. So they are the least respected people in the street that you could really think of. The people I liked in the street were the guys that did real business and good business. I knew some guys that were engaged in some stuff, but they were legitimate when it came to doing actual business. Thank you to Apple again, who says, coming up to a 5-year anniversary of J6, free Tina. Thank you to Apple again, who says, Deep State going to Epstein, Maduro over 2020 vote. Thank you to Q1, who says, so it is fraud or illegal loophole, Somalia, Minnesota. No, it's fraud because you are allowed to get funding for a daycare, but it must actually be a daycare. If there's no kids in the daycare, if you're not rendering a service, it is called fraud because the money is given to render a service. If you're getting money for a daycare, there must be a daycare that actually operates, which is why they brought in them kids that are probably just there for show, which is why they did all that stuff to say, oh, no, we are a real daycare. If you get money for a daycare and you have no kids, that's called fraud. If you get money for assisted living and anybody living in the house, except for the family that own the house, that's called fraud. If you get money for a healthcare center, but there's no health or care happening in the center, it's fraud. That's textbook fraud. You get money for one thing and you don't do that thing, but still keep the money. Thank you to Michael Guess, who says, it looks like Maduro is another Noriega. Was he trying to get to New York City? Question mark. Thank you to Ryan, who says, do you think Osama bin Laden would have been captured sooner had Trump been president at the time? That's a good question. They probably would have got him. But then again, it's kind of hard to compare the times because we have better intelligence now. We get better technology. It's better. It's easier to do what we did nowadays, in my humble opinion. So it's kind of hard to compare bin Laden to Maduro. I think that if Trump had the technology and the ability of today, then yes. But if they, meaning, what was that, Bush or Obama or whoever, if they had it, I'm not quite sure they would use it the same way that Trump used it this time, or that Trump's military used it. Thank you to Michael, who says, I guess Maduro's usefulness ran out. Thank you to Cardinal Flanagan, who says, anybody think there would be any issue if all this fraud was run by the mafia? Since it's run by who it is, you're not supposed to investigate. Thank you to Hand of God for being an ABL supporter. Thank you to Regina, the godmother, who says, Happy New Year to you, ABL, and everyone in the chat. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you to Blueberry Pies. It says, hey, you, with the emoji. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Daniel, who says, Anthony, I moved from Denmark to the U.S. 5 years ago. Now living in New York City, I'm pursuing a doctorate in English literature. I love America deeply, and I'm becoming a citizen soon. But subway and street violence must end. Trump tries. Hey, I'm with you. I really am. I understand. New York City, that's not really where I would move. But, hey, you over here making a life for yourself, becoming educated. Shout out to you. And hopefully you stay safe out there in New York City, Gotham City. No Batman. Thank you to Twisted Clown, who says, Bit Bat Mule on wheels. All right, let's get to some the calls. Super chats, we're done with those. We'll get to the calls. The number to call is 706-406-3287. And the phone line is open. I see some of you guys try to call already. We're open right now for you guys who want to call in. Unknown call, you don't lie. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's going on, ABL? Hey, man, I just thought I'd call in. I haven't talked to you in a while. Yeah, I am so thrilled today. I found out about 10 o'clock this morning. I could not believe that we had actually captured Maduro.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was great news to wake up to. I got up in the morning this morning, like 8 a.m. when I saw it. I'm like, you know what? Made my day already.
And they snatched up his wife, too, because they want to interrogate her as well. She knows a lot. She slept with the man for years. So this is a great, great American victory. He didn't need Congress to go in there and take him out. He's doing what's best for not just America, but Venezuela and the rest of the world, too. When you think about it, it has a wonderful ripple effect. I am so proud I voted for Trump 3 times. I'm still a MAGA man. That's so great. Also, I want to tell you, I just took a temp job about 4.5 weeks ago with a gun company. I can't specify which one, But yeah, we saw a lot of guns to DHS and Homeland Security.
Okay, sounds good.
And so I feel like I'm really helping out with the war on illegal immigration. So yeah, that's really good. And also, I mean, you think all these people that work for a gun company are going to be conservatives, pro Second Amendment people? No, there are a lot of people there that just took the job because they needed the money. You know, some people don't even like guns. So it's ironic that they're building guns that are going to be used against their ideology and their support of illegal immigration, you see.
Oh, of course. You know, but I'm not surprised. You know, they're hypocritical. They'll work for a gun company and then they go out there and protest against guns.
No, I'm not. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they don't realize that these guns are being used to fight the war on illegal immigration.
Okay, I got you.
You know, yeah, and there's also people there that are Spanish speaking that don't really speak much English, and I'm kind of suspect as to whether or not they're here illegally. You know, so what I'm saying is they could be they're building guns that are being used against people that are here from their countries that are here legally.
I got you.
So it is kind of weird, bizarre, but, you know, a lot of nice people. Everybody there at the gun factory is very friendly. You don't want to piss anybody off, you know what I'm saying? So.
Right, of course.
Yeah, so anyway. Also, I want to tell you about Cologne. I went there in May of 2002. Had a great time. The city was great. Germany didn't get really screwed up until, I think it was October or so, or mid-2015 with Angela Merkel. That's when she started bringing in all the people from the Middle East and Africa, and really screwing it up because she hated Germany. She felt guilty for being white. She felt guilty for being German because of the Nazis. That's when it got really screwed up. And you keep saying about Paris has been messed up for 50 years or more. That's not true. My parents were there in April 1984. The city was fine then. As far as I'm aware, the city was fine up until at least the mid-2000s or so. I think it got screwed up around 12 to 15 years ago at the most.
Okay.
But that was because of leftism, of course, you know. But no, they didn't have all those illegal migrants over there. Paris is a very nice city in the mid-'80s. I was there in 1984 in Brussels, Belgium. Today, that's a shiza hole. You know, especially the last 3 or 4 years. Madrid's going. It's just terrible, you know. So, I don't know. We need to get these Somalis out of this country and, you know, make America great again. But, man, today it's such a great victory, and it just sucks that the left is so negative against our victory. But you know, they'll always be against anything that Trump does that's good, like he did with Soleimani when he killed him back in 2019. They hated that, you know, because it gets Trump more support.
Right, of course.
That's why they'll never be for anything positive that Trump does, because it just builds the support for his movement, for the MAGA movement. And, oh, well, you know, there you have it. So, anyway, I just want to wish you a happy new year and best wishes to you. I hope you're very successful and happy this year, and hope you get more subscribers, man. Take care. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
All right, great caller as always. Let's go to the next one here. 786 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Mr. Anthony Brian Logan, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year.
Yes, well, 10 million and one things. Of course, with my area code, I'm at ground zero for all the Maduro celebrations in the Miami area.
Oh, okay. How's the atmosphere out there?
Oh, it's still active. Well, we did pass by tonight. I had to go pick up my wife in Key Biscayne. We live out in the western suburbs of the Miami area, and I decided we're on the way to take a route home in order to buy gas. We drove down Miami's Calle Ocho. We went by the world-famous Versailles restaurant. Even though it's a French name, it is the center of the Cuban exile community, Versailles restaurant. And there was a couple hundred people out there. I mean, some Cuban flags on them, Venezuelan flags, out there cheering and honking the horns. And unfortunately, my wife is asleep. I was going to ask her to play the video of them all cheering as we drove slowly by, and she was making the video of them.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, and of course, Ground Zero, too, especially a lot of Venezuelans, because I worked for a company that used to be located up there before it moved to Dadeland. the Doral, which is, Venezuela. Thousands upon thousands of Venezuelans live there, and it also has Trump's golf course there too.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, I have too, but yeah, that's what we saw. We saw the one today, and I'm sure there's a lot more in Doral. We couldn't drive up to Doral, but so it's certainly, especially watching the local news. I mean, the place was certainly partying, no question.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course. The thing that upsets me is like the critics. After all the statements coming out, the Democrats saying, "Oh, well, if I could do a regime change," but I want to remind you, Democrats, maybe you should go back to the early 1990s when Clinton was president, and they installed Aristide in Haiti. If you know about that, I mean, there was a cry to actually overthrow the Haitian government and install Jean-Bertrand Aristide as president. And so apparently there are times that Democrats won't mind if the United States uses its muscle to install a regime, more favorable in one sense that they like, in this hemisphere. So, I think about Haiti and Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Of course, I just want to say, too, that I want to, say to the people of Venezuela, Vive Libre Venezuela. And I want to introduce, too, there's a new Spanish word. It's called Madurista. Maduroista. Translated in English, it means Democrat. Yeah, and just real quick about Nick Shirley. I looked at the Leering Center sign.
Yeah.
And I had a little fun a couple of days ago. I dialed the number that was on the sign. I actually called it up. And immediately when it picks up, it goes, "The mailbox is full and cannot accept any more messages." And then to send a text, and if you try to send a text, it's going to record your phone number. But I'm saying, what kind of business is this? I mean, a business usually says, "Thank you for calling such and such enterprises," or whatever, for office hours or whatever. As a daycare center, they would say, "Thank you for calling whatever Leering Center, our hours are from whatever. Please leave a message with your telephone number. We'll get back with you." And, things like that. You know how a formal office answering machine is. But it sounded nothing like that. It just sounded like a basic cell phone, just said the mailbox is full and couldn't take any more messages.
Well, that's what happens when you have a fake business. You just have a random number that doesn't really get answered.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And they're saying Nick Shirley was making all this up and all. All these Somalis, if they were legit, what they could have done is just taken Nick Shirley in, shown him the kids and show him everything and embarrass him.
Right.
If he was going all there to show fraud, take him in, show him all the kids, show him everything, show him up, That's they really would have embarrassed him, just let him see it. But I don't know why they didn't do that. Of course, I'm being facetious with that question.
Of course.
At any rate, look forward to a great 2026. Hopefully it'll be the year of ABL, and hey, be watching out. You're going to make 2026 an awesome year.
Right on, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Hey, Karen. God bless.
All right, shout out to the caller. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Let's go to 859 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
All right. It's your Luciferian Libertarian friend here. Been smoking it up, choking it up. What's up with you?
Everything is good, man. What's going on?
All right, just listening to the show. Not exactly a big fan of going to war with Venezuela, but hey, at least we caught the person quickly, not wasted about like 4 or 5. How long was the Iraq war before we caught him sounding insane? At least we caught him quickly. At least we can end the conflict quickly and get the heck out of here. Hopefully it doesn't end up in a whole anarchy. But hey, there's something I may disagree with him on that. So I was going to ask you a question, ABL, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I've been looking into a lot of these other creators, and I listen to a lot of true crime stuff also. Weirdly enough, they brought up recently Charlie Kirk's wife. She's been acting a little weird, like she's acting less of a grieving wife and more of a, I don't know, murder suspect. And the reason why I say that is her behavior is acting kind of weird. Like, she's not wearing her wedding ring, and it just, you get my point. It just doesn't seem right.
Is she still married?
Charlie Kirk's wife. I'm talking about, yeah.
But wait, hold on. Answer the question. Is she still married?
No, obviously not, but I would still wear that ring.
But she's not married no more.
What's up with Colin Phillips, our ex-boyfriend? What's up with the tattoo underneath the lip of pizza? That's kind of weird and very questionable.
The tattoo where? Huh?
Underneath the lip.
Of who?
Of Colin Phillips, the guy who runs, was it Turning Point USA? Ex-boyfriend for Charlie Kirk's wife. They used to date back in college.
Okay, so he has a tattoo, and you say it's wearing under his lip?
Pizza. And it's like, you know, the whole situation with Pizzagate, right?
So is it a pizza or is it the word pizza?
The word pizza.
Okay.
Underneath the lip with this guy named Colin Phillips, who is part of Turn Point USA. Used to date Charlie Kirk's wife, I think, back in college. He runs Turn Point USA, and the whole thing with back in 2016, I voted against Hillary because of the Pizzagate situation. Half of it was exaggerated, but there was some truth in it. John Podesta had emails.
Hold on. Like, what's the guy's name again?
Colin Phillips. Captain Phillips.
Okay.
That guy.
Go ahead.
But it's weird that, and this is the thing, is if you catch, I know you may disagree with me, and that's fine. That's cool. People may disagree with me on the chat too. But it's weird that when this whole Pizzagate situation happened, you got John Podesta using the whole code word cheese pizza, and this guy has a tattoo of pizza underneath his lip.
Let's pause for a second.
Let's
hold on. Let's pause for a second. Now you said he ran Turning Point. He does not run Turning Point. He's at Deadly Wire.
Deadly Wire. Okay.
That's different. That's much different because obviously Erica runs Turning Point, and this guy does not work at Turning Point. Works at Deadly Wire. That's a big difference, ain't it?
Big difference. Fair enough. I made a slight mistake, but it's weird that I'm just saying, it's weird, and also the weird connections between her behavior. There's been like true crime, clinical psychologists been looking at her behavior. It's pretty bad compared to other people, and it's kind of off. Look, I don't think Trump has done anything exactly wrong with the whole Epstein list, maybe besides the whole Bill Clinton thing, but even then, that's not illegal. But they're acting weird, and I kind of voted against Clinton because of the whole Pizzagate situation with the whole cheese pizza quote. It's not looking good for them. I think the authorities need to look into him. That's just my personal opinion.
Now, I got you. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, because it's not everything's clicking, especially after Charlie got murked, and the connections between Phillips and a lot of connections with the dad. It's weird, and I'm not trying to make assumptions or something like that, but it's not clicking. None of it's not clicking. Something feels weird.
I mean, I don't know. I've not really been watching all that stuff that's going on with Candace and everybody else giving their opinion, so I don't know. So hopefully,
I'm not necessarily agree with Candace. Or
I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's kind of in the same ballpark. So I get. Hold on. Let me talk now. Okay. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't watch any of that, so I don't know a lot about it. So hopefully, ultimately, when the smoke clears, we'll figure out what's going on for real.
Hopefully. I really think the authorities need to look into that. Even the accusations against Trump, I don't necessarily think Trump had anything involved with it, but when the file says something about these accusations, that could be talking about anybody, because a lot of people who are psychopaths, sociopaths, they tend to tie other people to other events, even though they weren't there, just to try to bring them all down, because, again, they're very self-destructive people. Epstein was a very self-destructive person, and he wanted to everybody go down with him, even if they're guilty or not. You got to look at that perspective.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of stories that sit on those emails that could be tied to so many other people.
I got you.
That has, yeah. So it's a mixed match of just, if they find these files, It's a mind game.
Okay, I got you.
Because there's no proof on some of the accusations besides maybe a few things.
Right on,
Pictures,
man.
photos.
Well, I'm going to cut you off. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for taking my phone call. Hey, like I said, I'm going to just look into it, man. I
got
think
you,
the
boss.
authorities need to look into it.
I got you. Thank you for your call, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Hey, no problem, man. Much love to you, bro.
All right, now.
See you.
Shout out to man for the call. But yeah, all that, Candace, I'm good. Let's go to 504. I don't know who I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL, it's Alien Spaceship.
Alien Spaceship, what's happening?
All right. So shout out to you in chat. And this morning, technically, I call it last night, but it was technically early this morning. I was in a chat and they were saying that there was some explosions in Venezuela and some aircraft flying over it. And I'm like, oh, okay. We'll see if this is really real. And it was real, and it started to develop over time. And then on social media, there was posts about how the president and his wife were captured in Venezuela. And for a while, I have been talking about it. And from what I've heard about it online, and we've made references to it about how it's corruption and about how they've, people wait in lines for toilet paper, stuff like that. And now I hope, which I am confident in Trump, in my opinion, will do better than the other groups the other presidents that have been in power before, that Venezuela can become a better country.
Hopefully so. That's ultimately the goal here, so they can lift out of this poverty that they've been thrust into with the starvation and everything else. Hopefully that's going to be a thing of the past.
Right. And it is, there's quite a bit of oil over there. And I assume, in my opinion, which I'm not giving any financial advice, I'm not even saying financial advice, but just I'm going to throw it out there, that, yeah, I do think that this will probably cause the oil and gas stock to probably go up if it works, because the American oil companies will probably perhaps fill the vacuum over there with the Venezuelan oil.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And there's, from what I've seen online, there seems to be a mixed reaction. Some people think that it is, it's a good thing. Some people think it's a bad thing. Now, we do have to, wait and see for smoke to clear to see how it goes overall. But I saw that this person that was in power allegedly had a rigged election, and the people were rioting and unhappy with it. And it's just kind of like a group that comes in and takes over everything. So I really think that with the different theories that are out there, people have to eventually wait and see what will happen overall.
Yes, for sure. You got to wait and see. You got to, give it a little bit of time.
Yeah. Now, I will say that with inflation, some people are saying that it's going to cause a spike in inflation. Do you think it will, or do you not really know for sure?
I don't really think it will. I don't think so. No.
Okay, good. Yeah, because some people are saying that the war was this thing that happened is going to cause it to go out to proportions. But yeah, I think it's going to be all right. I will say that it's good he did it swiftly and quickly and not have a long, dragged out conflict like the other wars that we've had.
Yeah, exactly, because it took us a while to get Saddam Hussein, all these people, Osama bin Laden. We went in there pretty much a couple hours, in and out, thief in the night, and it was over with. No prolonged battle.
Right. And, a prolonged battle does not benefit anybody.
That's right.
Right. And Trump in his address today, he mentioned that with Putin, he is not really happy with him and over there because they didn't get a peace deal with them as quickly as they would have liked to. And I do think eventually it'll be situated. There is development with that, but I'm glad that he's in there and not like the other group.
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. As I say this on the show all the time, that I don't think the parties ever switched. I think they're just the same group that it always was.
It's just different marketing tactics, different time, different ways they communicate, but ultimately the same ideology, the same policy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is my thoughts about the Venezuelan conflict that happened, and I will, continue to make commentary on it on the show as it persists. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right, shout out to Alien Spaceship. Let's keep on going here. Let's go to 215 online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, that one's cool. Hey, ABL, how's it going?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Nothing much. So basically, a lot of people might be. I was expecting a lot of people to get upset, especially a lot of people who voted for Trump, and all of a sudden now they regret their vote for Trump because I voted for no involvement in any other country, America first. But with him capturing Nicolas Maduro over in Venezuela, I thought that was a brilliant move. I honestly didn't expect that. And the thing is about with Donald Trump is he knows what he's doing. He's always made the best decisions that benefits America. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think he did a good thing here. It wasn't a prolonged situation with Iraq and all these places. You go in there and then it takes years and years and years and a bunch of money. This was pretty precise, straight to the point. So I think overall it was a good deal.
Can you move your cart?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to say about Iraq. I feel like with Iraq, Iran, those other conflicts that took years, I think those went exactly how it was supposed to go. Basically, military-industrial complex, get involved, drag out the war, and make a lot of money from the war, a prolonged war.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this was more like an operation that just happened that was extremely successful. And I like how a lot of anti-Trump people are saying, "Oh, this was bad, Maduro this, Maduro that." They're staying for Maduro just to spite Trump, but the actual people of Venezuela that a lot of leftists and liberals claim to fight for, they're all they're out there just cheering on.
Oh, of course, they like it, but a lot of the leftists think that they know better than them about their own country. They don't, obviously.
Exactly, because the thing about them people is they've lived it. They're living there. These people, they're just on the internet all day. They're not living the experience that those people have lived.
That's right.
Exactly. And one more thing I'm gonna say is, it was a good move because it kind of weakens Russia, messes up China's plans, and any plans that Iran has had, it kind of foils their plans too. So a good geopolitical move by Donald Trump yet again.
Right on. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for taking my call, ABL.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. You have a good night.
Same to you. All right. Shout out to you guys for calling in. Let's keep on going. 818, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. First I want to say I love your show, man. And you're talking to 8-Bit Oni. I was on your chat a couple times tonight. So a couple things that you touched on, I definitely would like to go ahead and say. Like, I was born and raised in LA. I moved out, though, about 4 years ago. Moved out to Texas. And I would say, your analysis of LA is spot on. It's a very segregated place. A lot of people don't realize that. Even when I tell them, it's like, it's very segregated. There is a lot of racism and stuff like that. Even when I moved out to Texas, some people in LA thought, "Oh, that's where all the hicks are and everything else." I was like, in my area, I see more black people than I did back home in LA. It's like I saw a lot more Mexicans out there, but I didn't go south of LA. But anyway, what I wanted to say is, as far as immigrant communities go, I want to bring up the Somali community as kind of a comparison to LA. And the reason why I say that is because growing up in LA, I've noticed over the years, not only are all these different immigrant communities segregated, whether it's the Korean community, the Thai community, the Filipino community, you would mainly see a lot of, except for the Hispanic community, because they're kind of scattered all over the place because they're the majority. And so that's a little different. But I'll give an example. Like, I worked with Japanese people for 8 years, and the Japanese community was huge. And but here's the thing: in the Somali community, they're talking about there's two factions. I'm willing to bet that there's probably 3 or 4 different circles are out there, because if you go look in LA, even though the Japanese community was big, there'd be running like 4 or 5 different circles because it was much larger than probably I'm guessing in Minnesota. But here's the thing:
all the circles knew what all the other circles were doing, one way or the other. You might be asking yourself, ABL, like, what do you mean by that? I'll give you another example. My wife's from Thailand, and so the Thai community. Like, if I wanted to go to a restaurant and I wanted to eat authentic food, your normal average American, they're just going to give you the American menu. But if the foreigner goes there, or the person from that community, you can order off menu, and people know what is there. And the thing is, when it comes to that, even with the Thai community, there's like in LA, I think there's like maybe 5 or 6 different circles. But the thing is, people within those circles still talk within other circles, and people know what's going on. They know the secret menu. They know where to go. They know who to talk to. And so, and this is not exclusive to the Thai community. This is not exclusive to the Japanese community. This is not exclusive to the Korean communities. And I'm guaranteeing you this is not exclusive to the Somali community. Am I saying that all the circles and everybody 100% know what's going on? No, there's gonna be some of those outlines. But I could tell you right now, the majority of that community absolutely knew what was going on.
Oh, of course. And we have evidence of that because we see them with this whole daycare situation, bringing the kids to the daycare when there was obviously no kids in daycare before. It's a lot of the fraud happens at the community level. So they're in circles with each other. It's one big community. So if there's scamming going on, it's not like it's just isolated. There are people in the community, if not everybody, they know about it.
Yeah, 100%. And I just kind of want to say that because I find it hilarious that the news media is sitting there saying, well, it's just only a couple, or it's just a few, or it's just a little. It's like, no, if you've been around enough immigrant communities, you know that it's not. And it's like I said, it's like that secret menu at that ethnic restaurant that everybody knows about, but doesn't know everything that's on the menu. I mean, I've been there. Like I said, whether it's my Japanese friends, my Thai wife, or Filipino friends or whatever, there are certain foods I want, I can't get, but I know if I brought certain people, I'm getting. It's just the way it is. And then one other thing too I wanted to bring up, which my wife and I thought was hilarious is, when they were talking about Medicare and Medicaid, and then Democrats kept sitting there saying, oh, no, illegals aren't getting this and illegals aren't getting that. My wife and I laughed because when we had our first kid and we needed a little bit of help, first the question they asked my wife if she was illegal. This, again, we were living in LA. And she wasn't. She was American citizen. She got her citizenship. We did everything right. And later on we found out if she was illegal, not only would they do the paperwork for her, she would have got all the equipment she wanted, because we were trying to get a breast pump at that time. And she would have gotten the breast pump. They would have done everything for her, and she wouldn't have had to do a single thing. They came to us. We had to go through checks and balances. They had to look at our checkbooks. They had to see what we're doing, and we had to do all the paperwork ourselves. And that was very frustrating. And then the last part too, when it comes to illegals and other ones, is the school system that nobody else is pointing out. California's got way more fraud than Minnesota. I think that one's going to be the harder show to crack, But I mean, the thing is, it's like you look at the school system alone. There was actually a lawsuit a few years back because universities and stuff were admitting people that are out of state or out of country because they got a lot more money. And the thing is, locals like myself, we're not getting opportunities to go ahead and actually go to school if we wanted to. I didn't go to college, because either I couldn't get in, I couldn't afford it, or whatever. I mean, I can come up with any excuse, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, though, there's tons of corruption, whether it's the education system, Medicare, Medicaid, the housing. I mean, it's all there. I tell people this for years, and I kept being told I was nuts and crazy. And I'm hoping that a lot of this gets out in the open sooner than later. But hey, I like what the administration is doing. I want to see more of it. Anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and point that out. Thank you, ABL. I just wanted to say my piece on that. Love your show, and hope you have a great night.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right, shout out to you guys for the calls. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me tonight. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. If you like what you heard tonight, if you enjoyed this content in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. I got one more call. Then I put the bow on top. Let's go to 860. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, how you doing? You always surprise me when you pick up on me. How you doing, brother? Great show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
First of all, I just want to say the gentleman that's got a Thai wife, what he didn't list is all the requirements that we have to fill out to bring a fiance over legally to immigrate to America. Yeah, I got immigrant living in my house. I'm so against it. But we had to sign a promissory note that we would not allow our spouse, the person we're bringing to America, they're not allowed to get any government assistance. Period. That's all financially on me. But yet, the Uniparty can bring in $53 million and suck us dry. I got that number from the government. 53 million. Somebody said that's not likely. I said they just told you 20 million were illegally on SNAP. Do you know why there's so many illegals in all at once? We weren't supposed to be America after 2020. We were supposed to fall for the New World Order. They didn't kill enough people with the COVID vaccines. The internet took over and information got out, said, hey, don't take that shit. You know, military members quit. They wanted to kill off most of the military. That's why the Chinese single men were all conglomerated around the big California military bases and around Texas and everything. They saw the patterns. They know what's going on. I spent 3 years in the headquarters of a 3-star general with 3 countries worth of nuclear missiles aimed at the Soviet Union. I mean, people sit there in the chat and call me drunk, and I quit drinking alcohol in 1988. They probably weren't even born then. So, I mean, shoot, they talk about Russia. They haven't got a clue. They don't know Obama started the war in Ukraine in 2014. They don't know that Hunter Biden came back from China in 2012 on Air Force Two with $1.5 billion to buy our government because y'all don't read books. Now, 2 of the books I'd recommend is Unrestricted Warfare. This was written by 2 Chinese generals. And it's their plan to take over America. You can read it on Amazon for free. I recommend it all the time. The other one is Jacques Attali, Weapons of Hyperconflict. He wrote this bestseller in 1981, how they were going to come up with something, a financial crisis or not, or a virus or not, but we will make sure that the cure would be the solution to our problem, meaning that they were going to kill us with the medicine. They want socialized health care because up in Canada, they have the MAID system. Your teenager has emotional problems, they're going to direct him into suicide so they can harvest his organs. That's the end goal of the New World Order. That's why all their solutions for fake climate change, for population, for this, for that, is always communist. And you always have the richest people saying, yes, we need communism, which if it was communism, they'd be the last people that would say we need socialism because they would have nothing. But these people, Klaus Schwab, that say you will own nothing and be happy, they're serious. They don't want us to have families. They want us to be individuals. Our children are just clumps of cells, and they're 15-minute cities. That's not for climate change. That's so the elites are only 15 minutes away from their next heart. Because as Xi Jinping told Vladimir Putin, we can live 150 years with replacement organs, but the heart has to be taken from a live human. And they're not going to take my old 65-year-old heart. It's worn out and been broken several times. They're going to go after the 11 to 13-year-old hearts because those are the ones that are not quite adults. They're not finished growing. They still have stem cells and can adapt. That's all I got for you, brother. God bless you. And this is top-down corruption. These Somalis are from a third-world country, a doo-doo hole. They literally dig a hole and poop in it for years. But this is top-down corruption from our government. This is how they become multimillionaires in such a short period of time. We need an audit of every single senator and congressmen. And why is Mitch McConnell, whose family owns one of the largest Chinese shipping companies, in our Senate? Why is that? He ain't no Republican. Why is he there? These people need to go. That's all I got for you, ABL. God bless. Great show. Take care, brother.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
God bless America.
All right, now. All righty. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling. But that will be a wrap for me tonight. It's past my bedtime. But I will see you guys live again on Tuesday on Instagram if you're there. Shout out to my Instagram people who watch the show. And I put a lot of shorts out from Instagram. If you notice, I'm in the kitchen and stuff like that. Yeah, that's Instagram. So if you want to see those live, I will be live on Instagram on Tuesday. And I'm here live every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern to right around right now, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank y'all for watching. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. Y'all know I couldn't do it without you, whether you're watching, retweeting, super chatting, whatever it is. Y'all know I could not do this show without you. Thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls in check. I appreciate y'all for that as well. You're also listening to an audio streaming podcast. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming podcast service, whether that be Google Play, Apple iTunes, Spotify, etc. Link for that will be in the description box, or visit your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Okay, I think that will be your wrap. We got super chats on deck. I'll wrap it on up and put the bow on top after I read those. Thank you to Lothair, who says, I'm not a fan of Candace Owens. I read too much psychology books and true crime shows. I'm sorry, but I smell something. Also, he says, for the Big Lebowski, nobody wants to hear your opinion. Thank you, ABL, for taking my phone call. Unlike leftist podcasts and demand pronouns, which I will refuse to say, the left is still dumber than you know what. Okie dokie. There we go. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back on Tuesday live, but I'm here each and every day putting out pre-recorded content. I think what I'm gonna do tomorrow, even on a Sunday, I might do after I do this. I got a bunch of videos from the Venezuelans, the pro getting Maduro out of Venezuelans, pro-Trump Venezuelans, now that he did what he did. They may not be 100% pro-Trump all the time, but at least they like what Trump did. So that might be a compilation video I put out. And I'm going to do some in Spanish as well, because, you know, that's going to be a big thing that the whole world's going to look at. All of Latin America is on that. So look for that video to come out tomorrow. But aside from that, I will see you guys again on Tuesday live and the rest of the week with pre-recorded content. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out, and peace.